but where will her replacement be staging football? Will it be the Championship? There's a real fear on the banks of the Mersey with Everton in real peril, but Tottenham Hotspur aren't exactly in a great run of form themselves at this moment in time. Spurs are up there. David Moyes is in charge of Everton, and our commentary team are ready for what could be a fascinating afternoon as well as a nervy one. Neil McDonald we'll hear from shortly, but Adam Cottier can tell us the team news.
Spurs injury issues continue in abundance. Dominic Solanke missing today. No extent of that problem according to Ange Postecoglou here. Brendan Johnson is absent too, as well as Yves Bissouma. 2 changes from the North London derby. Ben Davies is back from injury. He comes into the side, as does James Maddison. Bissouma and Solanke are the 2 players who drop out altogether. So Kinski in goal again for Spurs. A back 4 of Porro, Dragoshin, Davis and Spence. That allows Archie Gray to move into midfield. Tapsar and Lucas Bergvall complete that midfield area with Kulusevski and Maddison either side of Son this afternoon in the Spurs attack. The only 2 senior players on the bench are Reguilon and Richarlison, who scored twice in this fixture last season. Everton have brought in Jake O'Brien. 1 or 2 murmurings that they could go to a back 3 here today, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin continues in attack. To be fair, David Moyes doesn't have too many options, with Armando Broja injured and possibly going back to Chelsea as well after his loan spell here, an unsuccessful one for him. But Calvert-Lewin hasn't scored in his last 16 appearances for Everton.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, and Neil McDonald, good afternoon to you. And
good
football
afternoon.
fans, being football fans, have gone, Dominic Calvert-Lewin hasn't scored since, well, almost the new king came to the throne, seemingly. And it's our club. This is what Spurs fans are saying. It's our club that he plays next. He's going to score today. But Everton can't score. But for Spurs, this is a huge match for me. 15th in the table, over halfway through the season. Ange Postecoglou feeling the squeeze. I know there's been mitigation of players missing through injury, but they're not the only club that have suffered that. I think that he has to win this game, Neil, today.
I don't disagree with you there at all, Phil. I think when you come into a place that has got no goals, no creativity, I've seen Everton on a couple of occasions this season and thinking, my goodness me, it's not all about the forwards, it's about the midfield players who are creating. So if they can pinch the ball, if they can press, if they know what their game plan is, if they know what their role and responsibility is, then they've got one hell of a chance to apply pressure with pressure to Everton, who are having a little bit of a bounce, but seeing that a little bit of a bounce only because the new managers come in. They lost their game 1-0 the last home game, so it's everything to play for. I could not believe when I looked at the table this morning where Spurs were. That is unbelievably low. And whether he's got injuries or not, they've got some really good players. They've got to be stand up to be counted, and they've got to take responsibility for their situation. Ange, is he going to change the system? Is he going to play 3 at the back? Is he going to play 4 at the back? That remains to be seen. But they need to get after Spurs today, and they need to win to give themselves confidence, because they've got some hell of a games coming up.
Yeah.
Certainly in the Europa League and the FA Cup and in the second leg of the Cup against Liverpool, they need a little bit of momentum, and they haven't got that at the moment. And it certainly doesn't endear yourself to the supporters getting beat off your local rivals, that's for sure, in the last game.
No, it certainly doesn't. I mean, if we're looking at this as a 3, which is what it seems, I mean, that is a change for Spurs. Does it tighten up the midfield against Everton, do you think, a little bit, with having 4 in there and the energy and the legs of Porro and Spence to just help out in that midfield area?
Yes, of course, and obviously, listen, for me, why is Maddison not playing? He's the most creative player on the pitch of the 2 teams. Now he's in the team, got to get him on the ball. Kulusevski creating, coming inside, sliding the ball. Now you've got Son, if he's playing up the top. In behind, they haven't got much pace at the back with Everton, so there's loads of things to exploit Everton this afternoon. It all remains to be seen which way Ange wants to go with it, whether he wants to play safe, whether he wants to have a low block, whether he wants to have a mid block, whether he's going to go after Everton. I'm really interested in that. I'm really interested in that and how they're going to go for, because surely he sees this as a game to get back to winning ways. I don't think they've won a league game since December.
No,
that's unbelievable considering the size of the football club. So he's got a dilemma. Let's either go for it. A point's going to, a point will be okay, but it's not good enough, is it, from where Spurs supporters want to be, and the momentum on the games that I've been seeing. So I'm really interested to see how he's going to go about it, whether he's going to play 3 at the back, 4 in midfield, 3 up front, whether he's going to play 4, and he's going to really go after Everton, because Everton are under pressure. They're not a very good team at the moment.
No. Well, they're in that 5 now. For me, at the moment, there's 5 teams that could, there's 4 that could go in the 2 places alongside Southampton and get relegated at this moment in time, and Everton are deep amongst that. That's why they've made the change. His first game, a loss to Aston Villa, although it was tight. Looking at it, looking from the stats, looking from everything that you could sort of suggest that they could have got something out of that game. What's David Moyes going to do today? I mean, he wants to avoid defeat first and foremost, and that's what he's very adept at doing.
Listen, very much so. You can almost see, and it sounds like a Sean Dyche situation at the minute. Sean changed his system. He was always 4-4-2 to try and be a little bit more open, try and be a little bit more expressive, and yet he hasn't got midfield players who can create stuff. Probably Ndiaye is the only one who can find a pass, to be fair. The rest are average players in my opinion. No creativity. Okay, so the pressure's on the centre forwards to score, but listen, they're under severe pressure. So David will try and win the game 1-0 without a shadow of a doubt. If he wins 2-0 or 2-1, he'd be really, really pleased with that. But he's got to keep the back door shut. Now it's up to Spurs to try and break that down with the pace, the creativity that they have. They're going to have chances to play in between. So as I said, I think David will play safe. Yes, the point is more important to Everton, that's for sure. If he can get 3, that's an extra bonus. But surely Ange has said to the players, come on, this is the best place to come to get back on a good run and to take the pressure off ourselves, to give us momentum for the games coming up. And as I said to you before, that's the interesting thing for me. I don't think David can do anything else. He hasn't got much to change it. McNeil is the one who's probably missing the most at the minute, because he's the creative one. He's the one who's scoring. He's good delivery from free kicks and corners, and he's not even playing. So they've got a great chance of getting back onto the winning run, that's for sure.
James Maddison, finally, before we move on and come back to you in a little while, but James Maddison, I think it's his first start since that heavy defeat to Liverpool just before Christmas for Tottenham Hotspur. Again, he's had a funny Spurs career. Started last season really well. Everyone was talking about, yes, he's one of the missing bits of the jigsaw that can be that creative player. Then he gets an injury. Then he comes back second half of the season, not quite on it. This season he seems to have been in favour and then out of favour, James Maddison. Is this a big opportunity for him to again say to Ange Postecoglou, you need to play me. I am your playmaker. I am your creator. I am your puppeteer that can unlock defences for the likes of Son, for the likes of Kulusevski today to score.
Well, that is his. You just explain what his job is all about now. He has to receive the ball, he has to have good service, but then he has to create, and he has to find the little pockets which he can do. He has to make the final pass, which he can do. He can shoot, he can take free kicks. So I think he's a vitally important. Now, does Ange say, well, we need more than that? So does he need to run back? Does he need to cover his fullbacks? Does he need to track his runners? Yes, he has to do all of that, because that's a professional football at the Premiership level. But the rest of the team have to say, listen, Maddison's playing, let's give him the ball. I'll win the ball back, I'll give it to you, but I want you to have a end product if you possibly can. If you don't, then you better get back and help me out, because we might be under pressure. So you have to accept what he can do and what he can't do, and then the rest of the players have to say, right, okay, then I accept what you can't do, but I'm going to give you the ball, and you create chances for us, and either score them yourself or somebody else will score them, and we'll win the game. And that's the balance and the dynamics that Ange has to try and find at the moment.
And Ange has spoken about Dominic Solanke missing, a knee issue. Don't know how long he's going to be out. They've got big games coming up in Europe, of course, and in the league. There's also been a lot of reporting about frustration amongst the coaching staff and from the big man himself, although he's only about 5'8", that there's been a lot of work and a lot of pressure put on Solanke's shoulders, and he needed some support up there. Is he a victim of having to be used too much? because there's not enough depth in the squad?
I'm not so sure a victim of being used too much. Listen, when you're a professional footballer and you're fit as what he is, I said at the start of this season, I thought that was a brilliant signing. He's very much like Kane coming off, interlinking, people running past him. He's a goal scorer as well, although, how many goals has he got? 7, which you still need more off your main centre forward, don't you? So I'm not so sure it's been overused. I think, are they actually playing to him? Are they actually using him more than possibly can? Is he getting really good service? That's why I was surprised at when Maddison hasn't been playing. You've got Son, you've got Solanke, you've got Kulusevski on the other side, whereas Maddison can find the little pockets, the little holes, and play them into positions where Ange probably wants them into the final third, because they're all creative players and they're all goal scorers. So he's a big miss for me. Certainly Solanke, with his interlink play, with his movement coming into the little pockets and leaving space for other people to drive into. So let's see if Son's playing down the middle, whether he can do that or whether he's just going to run in behind all the time. That's interesting as well, a little subplot in the game.
Certainly is. Neil, back with you and Adam in a moment or two, live on BBC Radio London, DAB, Digital Radio and the BBC Sport website and app. Spurs taking on Everton this afternoon on BBC Radio London. Lots of feature games in the WSL today as well. The Premier League's got lots of football matches taking place today, and there's been some important ones already this weekend. But in the WSL, will it be celebratory? Will the mood be celebratory at Arsenal? Randy Slager's been given the manager's job on a full-time basis. She's done really, really well as a interim. Don't call them caretakers anymore. Here's what she's had to say about being put in interim charge first and foremost, and how things have developed since then.
I got thrown into it. It was very sudden. It was very unexpected, and I was here to serve the club. But then under my period as an interim, it started growing. You start to look at longer term things, and you see where we were going as a team, and also the connection with the fans. I think I've mentioned the game against Manchester United, where we don't get the 3 points, we get 1 point, but we perform really well and the fans are backing us and supporting us. I think that's been a critical moment for me as well, to see, okay, this is something we can create here, there's something positive that we can create, and I'm very, very happy I'm sitting here now.
Well, I'm sure the Arsenal fans are happy as well. This afternoon, it's a local derby against Crystal Palace up at Meadow Park for us. Emily Herbert, good afternoon to you, Emily.
Good afternoon.
First and foremost, then, I mean, this has been called for some time, but Arsenal have taken their time with the decision. But it's the right decision, absolutely, isn't it? She's made a fantastic impact.
Yeah, I think so. And she knows the club obviously inside out. She's been here for a number of years. She's in interim charge. She's had 10 wins and 1 draw in 11 competitive matches since she took the reins from the inside of all. So the players like her, the players know her, there's already that connection there. So, why wouldn't you hire a manager that's shining? And the previous month, she won the Manager of the Month. So, I mean, she's clearly proven to, be the right fit for the club.
Third in the table at the moment, but it is very, very tight. The gap to Chelsea at the top is 7 points. But the first process the first real aim this season when it comes to the league is to finish in those Champions League places for Arsenal. Tottenham are leading, by the way, 1-0 early doors in their game. For Arsenal today, Crystal Palace, I mean, at the other end of the table, Crystal Palace, newly promoted, it was always going to be tough. Laura Kaminsky, their manager, has won a lot of plaudits this year for the way they've gone about it. But Arsenal should have enough to win this game.
Yeah, definitely. And I was looking back at the head-to-heads of this game, and the last time they played each other, it was a 9-0 FA Cup victory for the Gunners back in May in 2021.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they've kept that quality up. Palace, coming up this year to the WSL, they found it hard, and rightly so. Bristol City found it hard the previous year and then went straight back down. But I like Crystal Palace. They've done well. They've competed. They've had wins. They got a 2-0 win against Leicester City. Laura Kaminsky is a brilliant manager. She came in last year to Palace. In her first year, she got promoted. And she's still here, grinding out, churning out results. So you won't be expecting anything from today, of course, because of the quality Arsenal possess. But, they've got some good players in there, and they'll give it a good go, I'm sure. And if Arsenal
have got an opportunity. It's the reverse of the men's team yesterday, really. Arsenal got an opportunity to, I know we've got a long way to go, but to put pressure, pressure on Manchester United, who are fourth at the moment, because they play a Manchester derby later. So if Arsenal do what they're expected to do and win, I suppose I look at City and go, well, let's hope City can do us a favour and beat Manchester United just to secure that gap to Manchester United. So it puts pressure on United later, doesn't it, at 6:45?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so Arsenal and Manchester United are tied on 21 points. Then they're a point off Man City in second. Obviously, Chelsea's flying high on 28 points right at the top of the table. I don't know if anyone is going to catch them. I can't see them dropping too many points more this season. But yeah, it's very tight, and it's the same in the Championship. The women's leagues are very tight, and it's gonna be a lot in Arsenal. Well, they have to get a result today. They have to win if they're gonna keep that pressure on and still be in the title race come May.
Emily, thank you very much indeed throughout the afternoon, keeping us up to date with that one on BBC Radio London, DAB Digital Radio. Gabby Roslin's on 94.9 FM from 2 this afternoon as well. We're taking you through to about 5:15 when we take the second half of our Champions Rugby encounter this afternoon. Last night, of course, myself and Andy Rowley were at the Stoop to see Harlequins secure victory against Glasgow to secure a spot in the last 16. Today, it's the turn of Saracens in a really enticing match, kicking off at 3:15. They're at home to Castres. Saracens have already qualified and guaranteed a last 16 spot. They want to secure a home tie in that first phase of the knockouts. But Director of Rugby Mark McCall accepts that the opponents have plenty to play for as well today.
Probably the biggest game in their European history. They've done some phenomenal things in the top 14 over the last 15 years or so, but I don't think they've ever reached the knockout stages of the Champions Cup, and they get the chance to do that this weekend. If they beat us at home, they'll get a home tie in the last 16, so they'll be coming all guns blazing, and their best team's a very good team. It's a team that's beaten Toulouse this year, it's beaten La Rochelle, it's beaten Munster and Bulls in this competition, so we know how good they can be.
Andy Rowley's going to be bringing us commentary of that one this afternoon on the BBC Sport website and app for the first half, here on DAB Digital Radio for the second. And Andy, it could go deep, this game. Both teams won it for different reasons, well, for the same reason really. It's about home tie in the last 16, so there's a lot to play for in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. While we were watching Harlequins in Glasgow duking it out, Bulls managed to get the result over Stade Francais, which actually helps these two teams out, because it means that Cash don't have to worry about qualifying for the last 16 they're in, but as you say, both of them can go past Munster into second place in the pool with a victory this afternoon, and that would secure home advantage in the last 16, which, as we've seen down the years in this competition, can be massively important. So Saracens will still have that job to do to try and get that. They knew that was kind of on the table before, but Castres were not sure that they were actually going to get in. Now they both know they're in, so they've got that sort of just that pressure off. But to get that home advantage would be absolutely huge for Saracens, because even with Harlequins getting in yesterday, even if they finish third, there's a big chance, Phil, they might have to go to the top second place finisher, which might well be Toulouse. So it makes such a massive difference whether you finish second or third in a pool. Very difficult to work everything out at this stage, because there's still a lot of permutations about where teams can, even if they finish second or third in their pool, whether they'll be the best second place finisher or the second best one, and vice, and it goes on. So there's still a lot to be worked out this afternoon before these pool matches are all concluded. But you don't want to be going to one of those clubs that have gone really well, the likes of Bordeaux, Leinster, Toulon, Northampton. They're likely to be pool winners. Toulouse, maybe Saracens, Glasgow, La Rochelle. These are the teams that are probably going to get home advantage as things stand. So for Saracens to flip that and get the home advantage by beating Castres this afternoon, that could be huge for their tournament going forward.
And as we said about Harlequins last night, really, going into the game, it's a big 7 days for Harlequins. They got the first one over the line, which was to secure a place in the last 16 of the Champions Cup, and now they've got a big game against Northampton next Friday. For Saracens, they'll want to go into the break for the Six Nations, securing a home tie in the knockout phase of this competition, and then they travel to Exeter next Saturday in the Premiership, before the Premiership has a little hiatus for the Six Nations, and they go into that game thinking, Exeter are struggling this year, that Saracens could take a really big step to finishing in the top 4 in the Premiership. So just like Harlequins, but maybe Harlequins are sort of scrambling to stay in touch, for Saracens they could really set up the final push of the domestic season, both when it comes to the Champions Cup and the Premiership, in a really, really good spot with 2 wins in 7 days.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you think, it's big enough this time of the year anyway, with the Six Nations coming up for a lot of these players at these clubs. But then you think about this next 6-7 days. This one, a lot of the big stars are out there. The likes of the New England captain Maro Itoje this afternoon. He's thinking about, right, let's get home advantage, park that, and then hope my teammates who aren't involved in the Six Nations can go down there to Sandy Park, get a good result, as so many teams have done this season. They've only won once this season extra in the Premiership, so Saracens third as it stands in the Premiership. They could move on to 38, possibly 39 points, and that would really set them up for the finish to the season, because they went for a lot of change in the summer. Obviously, massive players like Farrell, the Vunipolas and others leaving, and so there is a transition here, but if they could put themselves in that position going into the run-in, that would be excellent. Home advantage, and maybe really well placed in that top 4. For Harlequins, as you say, that match against Northampton, they're both in the same boat really, going into that one in the Premiership. They both got the semi-finals of the Champions Cup last season, but they're both through. Northampton have won their pool, but they're 7th and 8th in the Premiership, and they are about a win or 2 off getting into that top 4, so neither of them can really afford a defeat in that one, and neither of them have got their real stars available on Friday.
Talk more about that a little bit later this afternoon. Full commentary to come of Saracens against Castra as well. The BBC Sport website and app from 3:15, and then here on DAB Digital Radio from just after 4 o'clock. Right, back to Goodison Park in a moment or two. Let's quickly hear from both managers. Ange Postecoglou under the pressure a little bit, with the team having won just 1 in 9, sitting 15th in the Premier League going into today's game against Everton at Goodison Park. How's the confidence amongst the group?
It's not about confidence, but I have great belief that we can make an impact for sure. But notwithstanding that, we still need to be better and more consistent in the league, irrespective of how we do in the cup competitions. And one can feed into the other, though, that's for sure. And we need to go to Everton on Sunday, and knowing that we've got we've got European football and cup football not long after that. Improvement in the league will help us on that journey as well.
Well, for Everton, Moyes back. David Moyes looking to guide them away from the trouble at the wrong end of the table. They are still threatened with relegation. So what's his approach to that?
Well, I think you're right. I think that team spirit, togetherness, individual characteristics, that you stand up and be counted, you don't hide. They cover a multitude, and when you actually start getting into them all, you could come up with lots of different things. But quite simply, if they continue to show the desire they've been shown, I thought a lot of the players the other night fought really hard trying to get a result, good attitude. So all those things need to be part of it. When you're not doing so well, they're the minimum you hope that you're going to get from them. So we have to try and keep those bits up, hope our luck changes, hope the couple of chances we get the next time will go in, and we can start to pick up some points.
It's a fascinating one, this one. Everton against Tottenham Hotspur at Goodison Park. Adam Cottier and Neil MacDonald, our commentary team. Finally, Neil, just ahead of kick-off on this, tension, nerves, dealing with pressure, all of those things come into play for the, not just the players, I suppose, but the coaching staff with the decisions they make during the 90 minutes of the game.
Yeah, pressure on both teams without a shadow of a doubt. David's looking for his first win in his second spell, and Ange trying to get out of trouble, because they are in trouble in the league, by the way, even though they've got a little bit of a gap. That can be closed down. So every little decision, every little tactic, every little thing that the player does reflects on what the manager's already told them to do during the week. So it's going to be interesting, as I said, how they go about it, whether they're going to go after Everton or whether they're going to sit back and wait for a counter-attack. That is the most interesting thing for me. But they've got to get at Everton, because this is the best time to play an Everton team that have got no creativity and they've got no goals. So keep it tight at the back and exploit the space, and then it should be an easy win for Spurs.
Don't concede first.
No, because
not against the Moyes side.
No, I totally agree with that. And no matter who you play against, or whether they're at the top or the bottom, never concede first, because that team has got something to hold on to, and this place will erupt, and I mean erupt, if Everton get the first goal.
Take it away then, chaps. Everton against Tottenham Hotspur, BBC Radio London Sport on DAB Digital Radio, and it's Neil McDonald you've just heard alongside Adam Cotton.
Well, a week ago Spurs made hard work of non-league Tamworth and Postecoglou's team, finding this season a tricky one to navigate. They can ill afford another hollow performance here on Merseyside. The two teams are out on the field here, Everton in their blue and white, and Spurs in their dark blue and white here, their home colours, as they try to rectify their form and climb the Premier League table. Two changes for Spurs from the North London derby. Ben Davies is back from injury. James Maddison comes in too. Yves Bissouma and John Solanke drop out of the side. Solanke has a knee problem that Postecoglou says he doesn't know the extent of yet. There's no Brennan Johnson or Bissouma in the matchday squad too. Spurs have 6 teenagers on their bench. The team that start the game join in with a huddle, a few final words from their captain here as they take to the field in a Premier League match for the final time here at Goodison Park. The team in full for Spurs is Kinski in goal, Porro, Dragoshin, Davis and Spence at the back. Archie Gray moves into midfield with Pat Sarr and Lucas Bergvall, and then it's Kulusevski and Maddison flanking Son in attack with no Solanke today. Everton bring in Jake O'Brien for his first Premier League start, and Jesper Lindstrom replaces Jack Harrison. Everton have won just one of their last 24 Premier League matches against Spurs. The match is underway, the referee is Darren England. Spurs are going towards the Gladys Street end here, away to our left as we watch on from the middle tier of the main stands, as the ball drifts out for a goal kick for Spurs away to our right hand side. Dominic Calvert-Lewin starts in attack for Everton. Neil, he hasn't scored in 16 games, but they've only got Beto in reserve, so David Moyes' options are limited. This is Moyes' second game in charge. His first ended with a 1-0 home defeat to Aston Villa here in midweek. But
yeah, they've got to win the battle in possession. They've got to pass and move the ball really quickly, exploit the spaces that Everton normally leave, and when it comes to the chance to put it in the back of the net, they've got to be very clinical. Interesting to see the setup. It looks like a 3 at the back, to be fair, with 2 wing backs. I know we said maybe a 4. That may be in possession, that may be out of possession, I'm not quite sure. Still trying to get the shape.
Archie Gray's got the ball in the Spurs half here from a throw, and they move it.
It's definitely 3 at the back, Ad.
To the left centre back, who is Ben Davies today, back from injury. Push further forward, Everton pressing, so Everton force Spurs back into their own box, and Kinski nudges the ball out to Dragoshin. Spurs have got out of that particular situation very well, but Son has the ball taken off him by Idrissa Gana Gueye, and then Kulusevski gives away a free kick. So a free kick to Everton, which is about 10 yards inside the Spurs half. 0-0 in the second minute here on BBC Radio London.
Still sussing each other out, aren't they? Not really any good possession at the moment. It's all huff and puff to a certain extent. The ball's definitely going to come in. Every time Everton get a free kick inside the Spurs' half, it's coming into the box unless it's on for a quick one. So they've got to be nice and strong, good defending, get that first header away, pick the seconds up and then counter-attack.
Branthwaite's free kick, left-footed, stood up towards the edge of the box, the right corner of the box. Spurs get it away through a volley clearance from Sarr, but then Everton retrieve possession. Mikalenko with a short pass, sold his teammate short, and Jared Branthwaite just tried to prod it forward, but only managed to prod it out for a throw into Spurs over on that far side in front of where the Tottenham fans are in the Lowen Bullens Road end of this famous old stadium. Sunday afternoon, grey skies above, pretty chilly as well here in this part of the world.
Brilliant turnout for the Spurs supporters. There was many people there.
Jed Spence has won the ball down the left hand side for Spurs here. Mistake by Jake O'Brien. Shifted the ball into the box pretty quickly with a low left footed cross, and it's turned behind for a corner by Everton. So a corner for Son Heung-min, who continues to be booed here after the incidents with Andre Gomez here a few years ago, of course.
Everybody back for Everton. First corner, in-swinger from Son.
So Son Heung-min with the corner from the left, right-footed into the 6-yard area. It's guided away, drops for Ndiaye outside the box, but he's overdone it and lost it, and then won it back and brought it out to the right-hand side. Bergvall comes in with a sliding, challenges them really well to steal it back for Tottenham, and then down in the corner to throw in as the tackle comes in from Jake O'Brien, former Crystal Palace youngster. This is his first Premier League game today, Premier League start for Everton, having joined from Lyon for a lot of money last summer. Spurs throw is taken by Spence into Maddison. Spence weaves his way towards the dead ball line, but a heavy touch means he runs it out of play. A goal kick for Jordan Pickford to take. And Neil, what have you made of it? You've spoken a lot about the shape of the two teams here.
Yeah, Everton's no surprise. A little bit of a surprise for me with the personnel that Spurs have. Obviously, they've gone 3 at the back, 2 wide players, making a 5 when they haven't got the ball, and then the creative players in the right positions. They've got to find them and get that ball as much as they can to create as many chances as they can.
Everton struggling for goals, go on the hunt for one down the left-hand side with Mikalenko. First-time cross headed out by Dragashin, and it drops out for a throw-in to Everton, attacking the goal to our right here. 0-0 is the score from the throw. It's moved into Mangala, and then back down the left goes Decore. Tackle from Bergvall. Porro's there trying to get it back to Pedro Porro. Everton pushed back now to the halfway line, but they've kept the ball. Spurs have to keep their shape. Branthwaite chips it down the left.
That was a good shape as well. They forced the wrong pass there, didn't they? They're holding the line, they're pushing up, they're squeezing. They are pressing from the front, which is excellent. And that asks the question of Everton, have they got the composure to pick that pass out, and that time they didn't.
Lots of question the ramifications for Ange Postecoglou if Spurs do not win this game. They're 15th in the Premier League table. If they lose here, they risk being 5 points above the drop zone at the end of this match round, but that would be determined if Ipswich and Wolves win their subsequent matches. Ipswich host Manchester City today, later on this afternoon, and Wolves have got Chelsea on Monday. Spurs here struggling to sustain possession, and Everton have it just outside the edge of the Spurs box, and a shot comes in from Lindstrom, and a good save from Kinski, pushing the ball away with his right hand. That was destined for the far corner. That was a really sharp effort from Lindstrom, back in the Everton team today, and they nearly scored. Corner
Excellent save. They give the ball away in the wrong area. Spence tried to play inside, lost the ball. A little bit of a counter attack from Everton. Good shot, brilliant save. That was a comfortable save, to be fair, but a good save.
Everton have lost their last 3 Premier League games without scoring. They have scored just 5 goals in their last 11 Premier League matches. It's a big job for David Moyes, but his team have probably started the better here with a corner kick after Lindstrom's shot was saved. The referee Darren England just speaking to Son in the penalty area here. There's a posse of players in the 6-yard box. England now pointing at somebody else to speak to. Ben Davies just having a word. Son, of course, the Spurs captain today. Darren England appears, Neil, to be speaking to every single player in the penalty area at the moment.
It looks as though he's speaking to every fan as well. Something must be up for not allowed to take this.
We've potentially got a VAR check here.
Right.
For something. There's definitely some sort of communication going on with Stockley Park. On VAR today is John Brooks. We've had no indication whatsoever about what this
couldn't really say anything about it, Adam, could we?
No.
They pinched the ball, they passed the ball, and they shot the ball. Goalkeeper saved it. Corner.
Now, my suspicion was that one of the officials had a problem with a piece of his equipment. That was the other possibility, and that appears to be the case, because the assistant on this near side has come to get another flag. Is that right, Neil?
Yeah, corner flag. Yeah. Unbelievable, isn't it?
So that situation is sorted out. The referee blows his whistle again.
Just pushing and shoving in the box, just making sure. I'm always wary of that happening, and then when the ball comes in, he normally goes on the defensive side, the referee that is, and gives a free kick. So
well, his assistant has a new flag and will have to be eagle-eyed here as this corner comes in from the Everton left.
This is coming under the crossbar. There's nowhere else.
A host of players in the box. It's coming underneath the bar almost. It was headed away at the near post, and then Everton from the clearance lift it back towards the edge of the penalty area. Tarkowski goes after it down the right and then nudged out by Spence, the Spurs left back, and now there will be a further stoppage because there's an Everton player down injured. 0-0, and we're in the 10th minute on
That's
BBC
how you defend
Radio
a corner,
London.
Adam. That's how you defend a corner. Ball comes in. I think it was Son who headed it away, actually. It was a really good header. He's just come over the top there.
It's Jake O'Brien who was hurt.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll get up. He'll have to come off for 2 minutes and then come back on. But that was really good defending on the first corner. That was put right on the button there, and they defended really well. They got the first touch and cleared it very, very comfortably.
The only players with significant game time in a Spurs shirt on their bench today, by the way, are Reguilon and Richarlison. Yang-Min Yuk is on the bench as well for the first time in the Premier League. And then the rest are all teenagers, 6 teenagers on the Spurs bench. They, of course, include Mikey Moore, who's made his graduation into the first team. As play restarts here, Spurs have a goal kick, which Kinski is going to leave for Ben Davies to take. So with the score 0-0, we're going to head to Emily Herbert.
And it's Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0, and it's a deserved goal. Arsenal's vice-captain Leah Williamson slotted home from a corner kick in the 6-yard box, her first of the season, just 6 minutes in. And this looks like it might be a little bit of a something for Palace this afternoon. It's Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0.
Everton on the attack here. The ball's going to break outside the box for Njai. Njai shoots. It hits the thigh of Dragoshin, and Spurs bring the ball away with Kulusevski. Looks behind him to check he's not been pursued. Nudges it towards Son. Son back to Spence. Will be with Emily throughout the afternoon. That game between Arsenal and Crystal Palace in the WSL this afternoon at Meadow Park. Spurs with the ball back in their own half here, without Solanke today, missing with a knee problem that will need further assessment before it can be determined how long Solanke will be missing. But Spurs are so depleted, and it has to be a mitigating factor, doesn't it, Neil?
Yes.
When you're discussing Hans Postecoglou's future.
It has, yes. It certainly is. It weakens his hand really on picking his team and stuff like that. But the players who are playing today are really good players anyway. That's why they're at Spurs, and they've got to stand up and be counted. They've got to do their role and responsibility in the team, and they've got to try and do the best they possibly can against a team that's struggling themselves. So let's see how it develops. They're defending really well. They're composed on the ball. They're counter-attacking at times as well. So the mixture's there, really good.
Everton with a back three today as well, a rare alteration for them, so used to playing with a back four under Sean Dyche, but today it's a back three, and I have to say Jesper Lindstrom playing in the right wing back role has looked dangerous so far, and he's got the ball now from a loose pass in the midfield, nudges it back into the box or towards the edge of the box, and Gay, it's Calvert-Lewin in there, he shoots low and scores for the first time in 17 appearances. Spurs concede, they're losing here at Goodison. They gave the ball away. Everton moved it into the penalty area, and some neat footwork and composure from Calvert-Lewin sees him run from Kinski and slide Everton ahead. Everton 1, Spurs 0.
Poor defending in reality inside the box. Plenty of people there, nobody really tackling, nobody really committed to try and stop Calvert-Lewin from turning, and then he just slots it and gives the goalkeeper absolutely no chance.
Wouldn't you just know that Dominic Calvert-Lewin would end his barren spell today?
Well, listen, they've been creating chances, as David said before in his little piece, and he just needs a chance, and he's a top goal scorer, but he has to be given the ball to put the ball in the back of the net, and they found him there inside the box. A really good pass. He's gone past 2 or 3 people, not really tackled him.
Talk about the defending here, Neil, because he's in a tight spot, Calvert-Lewin. There's plenty of white shirts around him as Spurs, but no one makes the tackle.
Nobody engaged. I totally agree with you. You've got to make sure when somebody comes inside the box, you engage and you get close and you force the ball sideways or backwards. They didn't allow that. They allowed Calvert-Lewin to turn and just slide the ball in. That was poor defending. Poor defending.
Spurs looking vulnerable already here. I was about to say, Neil, that given the way Everton have changed the system in a back three and wing backs, Lindstrom, who's come into the side, looks really lively, and he was involved in the build-up to the goal. He picked up that stray pass in the middle and made things happen.
He does look lively. He's getting on the ball, and he's probing Spurs' midfield as well as the back three, and he's found the pass. They found the pass into the centre forward, and the centre forwards come up with the trumps.
What now for Tottenham Hotspur? They have to show some spirit and courage here. 1-0 down against the team they never lose against, and they've conceded against a team who just don't score.
Well, the front three have got to come up with the goods now. They certainly have. They've got to stand up and be counted. They're the senior players, the front three. They've got to take responsibility and get that ball.
Archie Gray under pressure. David Moyes has got his team fired up for this. Under pressure from Njai, and Njai wins. Everton are throwing on the far sides. They're under the cosh here, Spurs.
And the crowd are getting behind Everton, which makes it even more difficult for the Spurs players.
Everton now with the ball back in their own half. Tarkowski chips it out to the right to Lindstrom, who's been the best player on the pitch so far. Tackled by the sliding Davis. Throw to Everton. 1-0 the score to Everton. They've failed to score in 12 of their 20 Premier League games before that this season. Only the 4th team ever to get to this stage of the season having scored so few goals.
It makes it even worse for Spurs to a certain extent, doesn't it? That's a stat, and they've just broken against them.
Here's Son outside the box, spins and turns it wide to Pedro Porro, who drives it across, or the scuffed it. The Everton get it out and then head it out further away from danger by Tarkowski, and that's allowed Iliman Njai to run forward, sliding in his Bergvall to make the challenge. Throw in, but there's an impetus and a verve to Everton today, and Tottenham are really finding this very, very difficult indeed.
Yeah, the tempo from Everton is just a little bit higher than what Spurs are. The crowd are obviously behind, which makes you run a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. So it's an uphill battle now. That's the first time the front three have had the ball, mind you.
All over the top, lovely ball. Calvert-Lewin has knocked straight into an offside position. Plenty of Spurs players back here. He's given it to Lindstrom, whose ball across is blocked by the heels of Archie Gray, coming into that 6-yard area to make sure Spurs did not concede again. They look so vulnerable, and it's nothing new, but they really miss Romero and Van der Ven in those central areas, because Dragoshin and Davis here in particular are finding Calvert-Lewin's movement really difficult.
Yeah, one ball over the top though, Adam. That's basic football. One ball over the top, so one man mark him, one attack the ball, one come round and support him. This is the most difficult thing for me, for Spurs, is obviously they've changed the system of playing three at the back. Have they had enough time to actually work out where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do when you haven't got the ball? Who's the first man to close the ball down? That remains to be seen over the next remaining time of the game to see whether they can work that out. But again, ball over the top.
Ball over the top from David Son. Is he onside? He is. He's tackled by James Tarkowski. Fine challenge from the former Burnley centre-back. Son drifting down the left channel with the ball over from Ben Davis. Son bearing down on goal. Across came Tarkowski to win the challenge. 1-0 to Everton.
One ball over the top again, using his pace, timed his run. I thought he was going to get the shot off, just trying to get too close to Pickford there. give the Everton defender a chance to get back. That was a great chance to respond straight away, by the way, and you would expect him to get the shot off.
Since winning 4-0 at Manchester City in November, Spurs have won just 1 in 9 games. Nottingham Forest are beating Southampton this afternoon because Elliot Anderson has scored for them. Incredibly, Nottingham Forest have scored 12 fewer goals than Spurs at this stage. Spurs still the joint second highest goal scorers in the division. They haven't looked like scoring today, and they are 1-0 down to a bright and energetic Everton team. Tarkowski back to Pickford in his own half, right in the middle of his own half. Hoists it long with his left foot up towards the Corey, who wins the header ahead of Spence. Mangala in the right channel, wide to Lindstrom. Lindstrom will cross, Dragoshin has to guide it out. It comes back to Lindstrom. He just nudges it down with his chest to Mangala, and Mangala now back to Tarkowski. Everton keeping the ball really well here today as Tarkowski goes long up towards Njai. It's just too high for Njai. Comes off the top of his head, allows Porro to roll it away from the right back position. Kulusevski comes streaming back, and then Kinski will clear. Manchester United 0, Brighton 1 is a later score as well in the Premier League. So all the 2 o'clock kickoffs at 1-0 at the moment. Brighton ahead through Yakuba Minte at Old Trafford this afternoon. Spurs with the ball in their own half with Sarr not using it to any effect at all here today so far. Ange Postecoglou's team in his grey coat, he prowls the technical area.
Yeah, he's going to be
down in front of us.
He's going to be a worried man sitting watching. Well, we're watching this, and they're not really getting anywhere apart from one ball over the top of Son. Everton in a mid block, lots and lots of numbers, so no real space for them to play.
Spurs work it left here.
That's better.
Yeah, good movement from them, and they move the ball to the left by Davis, and Spence crosses first time. Good challenge by Jake O'Brien. Corner kick. Everton first to so many things so far, and that was a good challenge from a player making his first Premier League start for Everton today. So a second Spurs corner of the game. They trail 1-0, and we're in the 21st minute. Dominic Calvert-Lewin ending a 16-game barren spell with a fine piece of footwork and finish in the penalty area, a congested penalty area as well. Here comes Son's corner, right-footed towards the far post. Pickford gets a hand on it to push it out to the right-hand side from Spurs' viewpoint, and they get a throw in, which is taken out on that right. Back to Porro it goes. Jed Spence to the left, moves forward, pursued by Calvert-Lewin, plays a little 1-2, really neat chance for Spence to shoot. The 1-2 was with Kulusevski. Challenge comes in from Gray, all a bit scrappy. Spurs have still got it. Kulusevski to Pedro Porro. Porro crosses, turned behind.
That's better.
And a block from Mikolenko, another Spurs corner.
Now,
some pressure at last.
Yeah, the pressure's coming because the passing and moving. The interlink play is really, really good. They're finding the spare man further forward. And now that's a really good response after conceding the goal to put Everton under pressure.
Corner's taken short. Played back to Pedro Porro, way outside the penalty area on the right-hand side. Back to Maddison. But Maddison being pursued, and Spurs have forced all the way out. Jed Spence is the furthest back. He has it now. Prods it forward. It hits Ben Davies' chest. He tried to lay it off with Kulusevski making the run, but Everton managed to clear that out for a Spurs throw. So Dominic Calvert-Lewin's goal separates the sides here on BBC Radio London. Spence with the ball forwards. It's headed away, cleared away by Everton.
Dominating ball possession now, which I thought they might have done from the start, but Everton come out the blocks much quicker than what Spurs did. They've conceded. Now they're starting to grow back into the game now. Now they're starting to dominate possession, which is good. Interlink plays much better. Just need an end product now, if they can.
Just from your viewpoint, Neil, would Everton's changing formation. Surprised they'll break off because Spurs are on the attack. Kulusevski with Son with a low shot. It's a tame one. The direction wasn't right, and Pickford makes a comfortable save. Son ought to have done better there. Kulusevski burst into a bright area, a really good area of the penalty area down the right hand side, pulled it back for Son, and his first time side foot finish was comfortably saved by Pickford.
Brilliant play, brilliant knock back for him, and I thought that was in the back of the net. That was a brilliant save from Pickford. But you would expect him to score on that one. He's normally deadly in them situations, is Son. But they've come back into the game really well. Ange will be really pleased with the possession that they're having, the football that they're playing now, and they're starting to open Everton up.
Just Everton have got a throw here in their right back position, but will Neil, the formation that David Moyes has switched to in his second game in charge, have surprised Ange Postecoglou at all?
Yes, I think. Well, it possibly has. Yes, of course. Certainly, Ange's shape has probably surprised Everton at the same time, and they've got to, as I say, they've got to try and get that possession, which they're starting to get now, but they are a goal behind, and they've got to keep on passing and moving, the interlink play, not standing still all the time, and then they'll get through. They're starting to get through now, and they've created probably the best chance.
Yeah, they've gone long again, and Calvert-Lewin has beaten the flag, and he's in. Heavy touch means Kinski can make the save. That is really wasteful from Calvert-Lewin. A more confident striker scores in that situation, but once again a long ball over the top dissects the Spurs defence, and Calvert-Lewin should have got his second goal. Kinski makes an easy save.
Wow. That's England international centre forward as well, by the way. What a poor touch that was. One ball over the top again. Where are the three centre halves? What are they doing? Well, surely one of them's got to pick him up, Adam. That's two balls just over the top. They should be 2-0 down there, by the way.
He really should. Calvert-Lewin will be desperately disappointed he's not scored, but he took 1, 2, and then the third touch sort of hit his thigh, and that allowed Kinski to come out and smother it and stop him from scoring. But those balls over the top, that's probably 3 occasions so far in the first 25 minutes where Spurs' defence has been like it's a long ball from Everton has taken them by surprise.
That's just one ball by surprise. One of the centre halves, one of the 3 centre halves has got to pick up, by the way.
The 2 open here, Spurs. Calvert-Lewin in the box, shot comes in, Mangala hits the post, Kinski made the save, Lindstrom crosses, Calvert-Lewin's header is caught in the centre of his goal by Kinski. Spurs are rocking here, they need to get a grip on this game else they will lose.
Well, Ange has got a dilemma now because the 3 at the back aren't working. It's definitely not working. Does he go back to a 4? Does he go back to a 4-3-3? This is really interesting to see whether he's going to do anything about it because they're up against it.
What a save by Kinski.
It was a brilliant save as well, by the way.
Mangala from bending a right foot shot into the corner of the net, flung himself to his left and pushed it onto the post. Incredible stop by the Czech Republic goalkeeper, the new boy at Spurs. And here come Tottenham on the counter-attack. Kulusevski on for Son, left of the box, little step over, shoots at goal, left-footed, went for the near post. Pickford makes an easy save, and then Son goes down trying to retrieve it. The referee Darren England says no penalty. Everton clear. Another long ball over the top. Branthwaite for Calvert-Lewin. Njai's in the middle. He's going to look for him now. Papsar is back to intercept the cross from Calvert-Lewin, and Spurs can bring it out.
There's no in between, Adam, is there? You attack, we attack. My goodness me, the game is so open. And I think that's down to the 2 formations, without a shadow of a doubt.
Everton 1, Spurs 0 is the score. Tottenham have the ball. Right hand side, infield it goes to Archie Gray. Gray to Bergvall, on for Ben Davis moving forward down the left channel. Wide of him is Spence. Spence into Maddison. Maddison hasn't seen an awful lot of the ball so far. Papsar 30 yards from goal, centre of the pitch. Short pass to Kulusevski. In front of him Idrissa Gana Gueye. Pedro Porro is wide. Again it's short passing from Spurs. They move it into a central area for Bergvall. Bergvall to Sarr. Is there a way through here? Sarr moves it on to Maddison. Maddison gives it to Son, and then Son's pass with a sliding interception comes Mikolenko to clear for Everton. Son was a bit lame with his pass there, and it is A clearance that goes straight back into Tottenham possession, but way back further down the pitch.
They're creating chances, which is good. They're getting into the final third, and you would want them to fall to Son, wouldn't you? One, he didn't get the first shot off. Second, he did, and Pickford's made a comfortable save. So they are getting into the final third. I'm just worried about the one ball over the top, and the lack of people in the middle to try and win that ball back if they possibly can.
Richarlison is on this Spurs bench today. 6 teenage players. Yang Min Yuk, the new signing from Gangwon in South Korea. He is 18 years old. He's on the bench in the Premier League for the first time today. Will Lankshire's there too. Mikey Moore, Reguilon too.
That shows how many injuries they've got, doesn't it? Wow.
A lack of senior options.
But at least Ange would be very pleased with the response after going a goal behind. Disappointed with the goal that they conceded without a shadow of a doubt. But they're starting to come back into it now.
But we know, Neil, he is a stubborn manager. He won't change here if he thinks his team are doing okay, but they look so vulnerable at the back when Everton take that right pass.
You have to get both sides right. First of all, the attacking stuff, which isn't too bad. Son's had a couple of really good chances, but you have to defend much better.
Njai running at Dragusin here, edge of the box now, step overs, left foot shot, score! Iliman Njai! Spurs are falling apart here and stinking into a relegation battle because they are 2-0 down to Everton. A team that don't score have scored twice, and it's a splendid goal from Njai running at Tottenham and turning onto his left foot and firing a shot high into the net. It's an extraordinary goal. It's bad defending again. Ange Postecoglou has to do something now, or else he might lose his job as the Tottenham manager. Half an hour gone. Everton 2, Spurs 0.
We talked about attacking football, making sure that you're creating chances, making sure that you make the opposition. But you have to get the other side right, and the 2 goals that they've conceded have been very, very poor. 1 in the box, allowing the centre forward to turn, and 2 a 1v1 situation where you force him wide and he smashes it in the back of the net. So they're not even dealing with the 1v1s at the moment as well. He's got a big problem. Is he going to change it, or is he going to keep on doing what he's doing? And Everton are 2-0 up.
Well, Ange Postecoglou said after the North London derby defeat in midweek that the responsibility weighs heavily on me. My goodness, it's never weighed heavier now. 2-0 down here against a team who've only beaten them once in their 24 Premier League meetings. The last 24 Premier League meetings. It's extraordinary, this.
They definitely need to get the next goal, that's for sure. Get themselves back into the game.
Everton have been very good.
They've been very clinical in front of goal, Adam. They've probably had 6 chances, scored 2, 6 efforts on goal. They've scored 2.
They were like scared rabbits as Njai ran at them there through the middle. Yeah. It's like rabbits in the headlights.
But these are good defenders, Adam. These are good defenders.
Are they?
But well, that's why they're playing for Spurs, because in the team, even though they've changed the system, they're not defending as a 1v1 situation, or my responsibility is to close the man down with the ball, and they haven't done that on 2 occasions. 1, inside the box, allowing Calvert-Lewin to turn, and 2, dealing with a 1v1 situation. And that's why they're 2-0 down.
Could Tottenham be relegated?
Well, listen, you're never too good to go down, that's for sure. But, they've got a little bit of a leeway with their point situations, certainly with the bottom 3, not so much Everton. And then they've got the star players and the better players to come back, of course. So I would say no. They've got no chance of getting relegated.
Spurs have got the ball in their own half here. Does Postecoglou, as Sarr plays it on for Maddison here. The Spurs look for a route back into the game. Maddison's found a route out wide. Porro touches it into the box and finds Kulusevski. Everton defending well again, defending their box resolutely. Comes out for Bergvall, the teenager. Chips it out to Pedro Porro, who will take on Mikalenko. Back to Kulusevski it goes, looking for the angle to shoot here. Works his way towards the edge of the box. Comes back for Bergvall, who from 25 yards shoots over the top of the crossbar. 2-0 then here to Everton. on Merseyside. It's been a dismal display so far with so many reasons here for Tottenham. Let's go and see what Arsenal are doing in the WSL with Emily Herbert.
It's still Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. Momentum and chances still all with the Gunners, and they should be 3-4 nil up by now. Williamson almost to their second of the game, just heading it over the bar. Palace doing well to keep it at just the one goal. 34 minutes on the clock. It's Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0.
Here at Goodison Park.
You tend to hold your breath, don't you, when Everton come forward? They look as though they're going to get at the back three dead easy and get a shot on target. That's a massive concern every time Everton come into the Spurs half.
Yeah, while you were away, Njai made another promising run down the left channel. The tackle came in from Archie Gray in the end, but Njai and Calvert-Lewin have been instrumental so far for the home team, and you can hear the atmosphere inside Goodison Park. Spurs have very little to be positive about here. Ball's back in the penalty area with Kinski. Kinski clears upfield. Could he have done anything about either goal?
No chance. Absolutely no chance with both goals. These players in front of him, certainly the back three and all the defenders for the first goal, and then a 1v1 hasn't been helped at all, and absolutely no chance.
And let's not forget he made a brilliant save
he's made one brilliant save.
Mangala's shot against the base of the post here. 10 minutes, just over 10 minutes to half time. Spurs,
it's going to be a long 10 minutes this, Adam.
Situation is really bleak, and they cannot afford now for this to get any worse. He's got to change something here.
I think he's got to. I think he's got to change the shape. He's got to change the shape because the shape isn't working, Adam. The shape is working for Everton because they're 2-0 up, but the shape isn't working for Spurs. So what's he going to do? Has he gone to a 3 now? Has he gone to a 4? That looks as though it's a 4 now. Look, with Porro dropping in, but is that because they haven't got the ball? Still 2 wing backs. Spencer's gone left back.
Well, Radu Dragashin has had a terrible half, and
he's
again,
still playing 3.
He's beaten to a header by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's just a bit fortunate. It was just slightly too high for Calvert-Lewin, and it goes back through to Kinski. But Dragashin's all over the place here.
Yeah, he is. He's struggling, isn't he? He's struggling, certainly in a 1v1 situation and against Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin is excellent in the air, by the way. But they should be defending better. Without a shadow of it, they should be defending better. And now, okay, they've got possession. They're passing and moving the ball, which is okay. Created a couple of chances. They're going to find it very, very difficult now to break Everton down, who've got 2-0 lead to hang on to.
And Spurs have relied so much on their goal-scoring exploits this season. Yes, they have been entertaining and really aggressive going forward. But here, they're running into a blue barrier every time they do get forward.
There's two facets of football. One is attacking. Yes, okay, you can be as free as you want. You can have so much rotation. But on the defensive side, you have to defend situations that are in the box. There are 1v1, and they haven't actually done that today. They've let the manager down.
And Kulusevski tries to win the ball back down the Spurs right, but pushes the Everton player down to the ground, and that will mean a free kick to Everton. Nothing has gone Kulusevski's way here today. Nothing is going Tottenham's way. They're missing Solanke. They're missing so many first-team players, and it's really telling. Really, really telling.
Certainly at the back, that's for sure. Listen, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever team you play against, and whatever selection that you have to have your best players playing in the best positions, because you get found out. You get found out even through inferior, in inverted commas, teams find you out if you haven't got your star players and your best players playing in the best positions.
The Spurs have an identity under Postecoglou, do you think?
Yeah, they certainly have, yeah. You know, exciting going.
What is that identity?
Well, it's always the attacking play, isn't it? The speed that they work at, but at the same time, as I said, football's about 2. It's about attacking and defending, and then certainly not getting the defensive side right at the moment. Whether it's lack of numbers, whether it's lack of players, whether it's players not recovering into the positions, whether it's not doubling up, it doesn't seem to be working at the moment, because it seems so easy for Everton, whether it's a long ball or when they actually try and play through, there's too much space for them to play.
Stoppage at the moment because Idrissa Gana Gueye is lied down on his back, receiving some treatment. 38 minutes now on the watch. Everton leading Spurs by 2-0. A low shot from Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the penalty area after Spurs had given the ball away in midfield. He was in a tight spot in the box, was Calvert-Lewin, but he found a route to goal and wrong-footed Kinski. The second goal, Iliman Ndiaye running, driving towards the edge of the penalty area, getting onto his left foot with a couple of step-overs and firing a shot into the near post top corner. It's a brilliant goal. They were both excellent goals.
There's a break here, Ad, right? And he hasn't even spoke to any of his players. Ange. Yeah. David Moyes has called everybody across. Listen, keep this going, keep it nice and tight. You work off this, you work off that. He's just standing there. Ange. The players haven't come across and said, "Come on, Gaffer, give us some information on how to make this better."
It's a really good spot because there's a briefing going on with David Moyes and 3 or 4 of his players. Obviously, some use it to come and take some water on. But none of those Spurs players have come across to speak to him. Language.
He never said come across. Listen, keep this nice and tight, right? Or change to this. Or you've got to get on the ball a little bit better. He's just standing there with his arms folded. I'm very, very surprised. That was a chance to do a little bit of coaching there when there was a little bit of a break to try and energise his side and get his side back into the game.
Players restarted here. Ben Davies moving forward down the left with his ball towards the edge of the penalty area. Is intercepted, so Everton bring it away and they move it left, and Ndiaye will try and take on Archie Gray here. Ndiaye up to Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin was tripped by Bergvall, who protests his innocence. He's not going to get a card for his troubles, the Swede.
Yeah, just a little bit of an experience there. Should have stayed on his, not so much stayed on his feet, but he should have stayed with Calvert-Lewin instead of just trying to nudge him off. And that was an absolute cert yellow card there.
Yeah, yellow cards for Lucas Bergvall, looking for his first Premier League goal.
At least he was running back at him. At least he was trying to get back.
And he's made sure that Calvert-Lewin hasn't progressed any further.
But this is a danger because this ball's coming in from the Everton left back.
Vitaly Mikalenko in front of those.
He's got decent delivery of him or Ndiaye, that's for sure. It's coming in the box, and look at the big boys in there. They're holding the 18-yard box, which is round about right. Still thinking maybe it could be a couple of yards further forward.
In front of the Spurs fans, the disgruntled Spurs fans, Mikalenko plays in the free kick left-footed. It's headed away. It's only partially clear by Spurs. Gay, who's back okay again after going down injured a few moments ago, has possession. Knocks it square across the centre circle to Lindstrom, who glides forward down the right. Outside of him is O'Brien. O'Brien has it now on for Lindstrom, and O'Brien again. Once again, Everton doing really well in tight situations, and then a forward ball from O'Brien finds Mangala in an offside position. Spurs try to take the free kick in the wrong position, but are caught by Darren England like naughty school children and are forced to go back deeper into their own half to take the free kick. 4 minutes of the first half remaining. This has been really bad from Spurs' perspective, as you say, Neil. From the defensive perspective, it has been abject from Spurs.
Everybody has a role when they've got the ball. Yes, everybody understands that, because that's the easiest thing to do, isn't it? Well, I'll pass there, I'll run there. But on the defensive side, are you going to stay with your man? Are you going to stop your man from playing? Are you going to force the ball sideways or backwards? Am I going to work off my centre half? Am I going to work off my full back? It's just not right. It's not right on the defensive side.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin goes into the book, going up for a header with Spurs Dragashin, and getting a yellow card for his troubles. I think Calvert-Lewin's issue was that he managed to jump higher than Dragashin and sort of landed on the Spurs defender when he came down.
Come on, get up.
Yeah, it's a bit of a
get up. You're 2-0. You're 2-0 down. Come on, get up. He's the last person that they need to get to come off, but my goodness me, he hasn't had a very good first half, that's for sure.
He didn't appear, Neil, to fall down terribly awkwardly there, Dragashin, but he is receiving treatment here as we move towards the half-time spot, and Ange Postecoglou, I'm sure, thinking about what he says at the break.
Wow. I'd love to be a fly in the wall in the Spurs dressing room, that's for sure, to see what he's going to say, whether he's going to have the hairdryer, whether he's going to be nice and calm, whether he's going to pull and push, whether he's going to change the system. Remains to be seen, because whatever he's done in the first half, it certainly hasn't worked. Even though they've had 3 opportunities to score, 2 with Son, 1 with Bergvall. Okay, they haven't taken that, but they've been awful in defending. They've been awful letting Everton, who have got no creativity, get into the final third and then create chances. And then when they've been asked to defend, they fell well short.
They've gone more than a month without winning. If this stays the same, it'll be 1 win in 10. That being the 5-0 win at Southampton. We saw them sparkle at Manchester City, but when Manchester City were at quite a low ebb in November. How does Postecoglou survive? In 18 days they come back to Merseyside for the second leg of that semi-final. They lead 1-0 against Liverpool.
Well, that's certainly still in Europe, aren't they? They're still in the semi-final. Listen, if they get beat yet today, he's under pressure. 1, because of the position that they're in. 2, because they're getting beat off Everton, who are below them, and they haven't won for over a month in the league. That puts whoever you are, that puts you under pressure. Now, are they going to do something before the Europa League games? Are they going to do something before the second leg of the semi-final? Are they going to do something before the play in the next league games against Leicester and Brentford? Are they going to do something? Well, that's up to the hierarchy. If they're not happy on what they're seeing, they'll make a change.
Dragic is still being treated on the pitch here. It's possible that he landed and has hurt his neck or his head here. So the Spurs medical team just making sure that he's okay and not moving him as a precaution here. So there will be a delayed end to this first half. Just going back, Neil, to Postecoglou. Other Spurs managers under Daniel Levy have been dismissed for less, haven't they?
Yes, they have. Listen, you can see my philosophy. I'm not going to change my philosophy. I'm not going to change the way I'm playing. I've got loads of injuries and I can't pick my best team. Yeah, every team has that. I'm sorry, every team has that. And the players have got to run about and try their best. And I'm not so sure they're running about as much as what they should do. Certainly when you haven't got the ball. Everybody comes alive when they have the ball. And they made a couple of chances, yes, but are they fully committed? Are they fully believing what Ange is saying? Because it looks as though they're not, because they're getting beat, and they're getting beat on a regular basis. Not against brilliant teams, but they're getting beat every week, and that takes the confidence down of every single player.
We've moved into a minimum of 7 minutes added on in this first half, but Dragic is still getting treatment. Elsewhere in the Premier League this afternoon, Manchester United 1, Brighton 1. Bruno Fernandes's penalty has levelled things up there at Old Trafford. Minte put Brighton ahead there early on. Nottingham Forest striding into a 3-0 lead inside 41 minutes at the City Ground. They lead Southampton by 3-0. Southampton surely won't end up with just 6 points, but it doesn't look particularly likely they'll get too many more in this campaign. 3-0 down at Forest. Anderson, Hudson-Odoi and Wood have scored in that game. Here at Goodison Park, Calvert-Lewin in the 13th minute, Iliman Ndiaye in the 30th, and Everton leading Spurs by 2-0. Dragic is on his feet.
What's going on there, lad? Get him off then.
And being told now to come off the pitch. He will have to spend 30 seconds off it, of course, given the rule change last summer.
A little bit of claret, I think. Whether it's on his, it looks as though he's on his right eye, doesn't it? So a little bit of claret's probably gone on his shirt. He needs to change that. It looks as though he's going to be all right to carry on.
Yeah, so a shirt change.
Excuse
Radu
me.
Dragic. And I think he would have been taken off had Spurs had better options on their bench defensively. That they've only got Reguilon as a senior defender on the bench. I'm not sure how he'd survive if Spurs were at full tilt and full strength squad-wise today, because he has had a real struggle here at Goodison, and it's not just him either. Play continues here in added time at the end of the first half. A restart after Dragic's injury. Spurs for a moment or two here, down to 10 men as Dragoshin now replenishes the 11,
he's fine.
coming back on. So he is okay. I'm sure there'll be further assessment at half-time. Spurs looking for a way back into this game, but at times they look passive, and that's a stray pass from Bergvall in the middle. Blind pass, spinning wide, looking a bit naive in the midfield, the 18-year-old there, I'm afraid. And Everton will take the ball down the left. Perhaps Sarr gets in the way. Spurs win the ball back. 2-0 to Everton in the 4th minute now of a minimum of 7 added on at the end of this first half. You're listening to BBC Radio London. Phil will have the details of the other Premier League games and our featured WSL match between Arsenal and Crystal Palace this afternoon at the break. Saracens also in action in the Champions Cup. You can listen to that match on DAB on the BBC Sport website in the rugby today, but Phil will have all the details of that at half time. Here come Spurs with Davis down the left, low pass intercepted by Tarkowski. So the blue shirts of Everton work it out. Neat touch from Calvert-Lewin. They look so much more confident here today, Everton. There's a brightness about them that was seldom seen, certainly under Dyche, and probably not in Moyes' first game here in midweek, as they lost to Aston Villa. But today they look absolutely determined to get the job done. 2-0 they lead, and Everton ensuring that Spurs' dismay continues. Tackled by Jed Spence results in a free kick.
That's pure frustration, pure frustration from a defender. Just hanging his leg out, giving a simple free kick away instead of staying on his feet and staying with the man. Pure frustration. Now they've got a defender cross that's coming in the box with so many big lads from Everton. The ball will be bent round towards the pen spot without a shadow of a doubt, and who's going to win the first header?
A 3-0 lead would be catastrophic for Spurs here. A 3-0 Everton lead, that is. So a free kick to the home side. Out on the right hand side, it's about 7 yards in from the touchline, midway inside the Spurs half. Sent into the box, and the goalkeeper Kinski has to make the save. Tarkowski was in there, I think he got the touch to prod it goalwards.
Another brilliant save, Adam. Ball into the area, stupid free kick. Ball into the area, diving header from Everton centre half, and what a really good save. That's, even though they're 2-0 down, it keeps the team in it without a shadow of a doubt.
But he's got in front of Archie Gray there, Tarkowski.
More desire to win the ball. You've got to be physical and you've got to be brave.
Corner kick as a result, sent in by Lindstrom. That's a better header from Sarr,
good header away from Sarr.
Comes out to Mikolenko, back to Lindstrom again, who's been really good in this first half for the home side. His cross is blocked by the heels of Pedro Porro. It's another corner kick to Everton. They lead 2-0.
They've got to get through, Adam, here. They've got to get through. 2-0 down. They can't concede a third one from a set play, surely.
We're in the 7th minute of the minimum 7 added on here. Corner kick by Lindstrom, diverted away by Porro at the near post, the head of Porro. And then Lindstrom again, high ball to the back post. Tarkowski's up there, landed in. It is 3-0. This is extraordinary now. Tottenham Hotspur trail Everton 3-0. The high ball in from Lindstrom, the header down by Tarkowski, and the final touch goes past Kinski. Surely Spurs can't get back from this. This is abject. The lowest points now of Ange Postecoglou's reign. Everton 3, Spurs 0.
Game over. No matter what he does at half time, they're never going to get back into this. On the first half evidence anyway, because it looks as though Everton can score every time the ball comes inside the box. More desire, more movement, more physicality, and they've absolutely wiped Spurs out. Ball across the face of the goal. Could have been an own goal. I think that might have been an own goal off Gray.
Yeah, it's going down as an Archie Gray own goal.
Yeah, own goal.
It back. It hits the knee of Archie Gray. That was my suspicion that it had done, but needed to see a replay.
But when a team is struggling to score, Adam, right? We talked about this before, right? They have had 8 opportunities in the first half against a team who can't defend for their life. Wow. I hate having to go, but I tell you what, this is the worst performance I've seen from Spurs in a long, long time. Yes, circumstances, yes, change of system, yes, but come on. We've got to be better than this.
Everton have shown the tenacity that I've seldom seen coming here in the last few years.
Well, that's a change of manager.
Sure.
That is a change of manager's bounce without a shadow of a doubt. Okay, didn't get the result against Villa, but obviously Villa are a different calibre altogether to Tottenham Hotspurs, with all due respect.
The cameras keep focusing on Daniel Levy, sat not too far from us here in the main stand. He has a face that tells 1,000 words here.
Yeah, and his face doesn't look too good either, by the way.
Spurs 3-0 down at Everton. Everton never score. Their scoring record was appalling. They've scored 3 in the first half. It's so damning of this Tottenham team under Ange Postecoglou that it surely can't get any worse than this, and it might not do, because Daniel Levy might have a decision to make. They go to Hoffenheim in the Europa League on Thursday.
Well, he's not going to sack him at half time, though.
If he does survive, then Leicester next Sunday becomes absolutely enormous given Leicester's form. And amid a relegation battle that Spurs are fast becoming a part of here, they started this game 8 points clear of it, but they could be 5 by the end of this match round. 3-0 down here at Goodison. We're still playing it. In fact, Darren England blows the half-time whistle, and that ends a horrible half for Tottenham Hotspur. They've looked so abject defending. Dominic Calvert-Lewin ending his barren run with a fine low finish. Under pressure in the penalty area, managed to squeeze a shot past Kinski. Illiman and Jai then run and terrified the Spurs defence to fire in a left-footed shot into the top corner, and then to add to the woe, a cross from Lindstrom headed down by Tarkowski and kneed into his own net by the teenager Archie Gray. Spurs are so far short of it, and they are 3-0 down to Everton here at Goodison Park at half-time.
BBC Radio London,
the home of London football.
Well, extraordinary stuff. Everton, who couldn't score goals. Dominic Lewin, who couldn't score goals. I mean, there was inevitability, we said before the game about that, but goodness gracious me, Martin Jol and his depleted Spurs side. But you can be depleted and still have some fight. Let's go back to our commentary team at Goodison Park. Listen, it won't happen at half-time, and Martin Jol, though, Neil, found out about, or the fans found out about his departure from Spurs at half-time in a game against Getafe. I was there. It was an extraordinary atmosphere.
Wow.
It won't happen today, obviously, in these sort of circumstances, but Ange Postecoglou is going to have to get a reaction. Whatever happens, you said game gone after that third goal that was bundled in. He's going to have to see a reaction in the second half. How much is this down to players? How much is this down to the coaching today? How much is this down to, and the fans complain about this, the way the club is run and the recruitment policy, which has left Ange Postecoglou short-handed?
Well, they are short-handed because they've got lots of injuries to key players, and as I say, if you want to do well in the Premiership, if you want to do well in any league, then you have to have your best players playing in the best positions. All due respect, he hasn't got that at the moment, but the team that he picks should be a little bit better. Should be 100% better than what they have been doing. They are a danger going forward. They've created a couple of chances. They've had 3 efforts, two from Son, 1 from Bergvall. But the defending is shocking. It's not just the back 3. Listen, if it wasn't for the goalkeeper, it could have been 5, by the way. So, do the players not want to run around? Do they not want to do what the manager's saying? Do they not want to get back? Do they not want to track the players back? That looks to me as though that's the scenario, and that is really, really damning for a manager who's expecting their players to say, listen, you're playing for Spurs, you're playing against Everton hardly score, Everton hardly create, and yet we're 3-0 down. I'd love to be a fly on the wall and see what he's going to do in the second half. Now it's limit damnation, that's all it is. Second half, I can't see them getting back into the game, and they're more likely to concede more goals if they don't roll their sleeves up and show the manager that, okay, sorry about the first half performance, we'll make sure that it's 0-0. If we get a goal back, that's brilliant, but we need to not concede in the second half, and that means rolling your sleeves up, winning your individual battle and working hard together. And certainly for me, and I'm very, very rarely like this, they haven't done that in the first half.
Yeah, it's not a good sign, is it? And a look at the league table now. I mean, you say they've got a big game at Hoffenheim. They're in danger of not making, they're going to have a tougher round of 16. They're going to have to play the round of 16 games in the Europa League. They'll have a tough one there. They are now, their goal difference is starting to dissipate with the way that Everton moved to within 4 points of them. I mean, it's, it really is. The optics are really bad. Huge pressure on that game in the League Cup. And let's not forget as well, as a club, they made a change ahead of a League Cup final. Never mind ahead of a League Cup semi-final where they have the slight advantage. I don't know. This second half is going to be massive for Ange Postecoglou.
It's going to be massive. So as I said, I'd love to be a fly in the change room. Is he shouting the ball in? Is he throwing the cups about? Is he nice and calm?
Is he throwing the towel in?
Is he throwing the towel in? Correct. Yes. And say, listen, it's up to you now. You've let me down. You've let your supporters down. You've let the club down. You better go out there and perform in the second half, because you don't, you're going to get beat 5-6 against a team who can hardly score, by the way.
Yeah. Neil, go and have a lie down in a darkened room. I don't think we expected that. Yeah, we didn't expect that. I know they've been struggling, but goodness gracious me. Second half, 10 minutes away here on BBC Radio London. Spurs trailing Everton by 3-0. As you could imagine, social media has gone a little bit crazy with the reaction to that. That's commentary to come of that second half. Commentary of the second half of Saracens against Castres in the European, or the Champions Cup as it's now. Keep on calling it European Champions Cup. It's not, because South African teams are involved. And it's a big one this afternoon. Castres, of course, have their own reasons. They've made a bit of history qualifying for the knockout phase. They now want to make sure that they get a home game in the last 16, as do Saracens. Our commentary team will get off and running in about 10 minutes time of that one as well at the StoneX, so let's catch up with them. Hugh Godwin, rugby correspondent of the Eye, and Andy Rowley sat there in North London, which is a bit stunned in certain parts of North London after what's happened in the football. So let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something positive, shall we? London rugby, good news for Harlequins last night. Can Saracens make it a good weekend?
It was a bit awkward just listening in. You and I, you just raise your eyebrows thinking, oh goodness me, this is desperate. But yeah, we're delighted to be here, Phil, at the rugby in the Champions Cup this afternoon. Saracens and Castres, as you say, both qualified for the last 16 now after the result yesterday evening. But home advantage could be absolutely massive. Mark McCall's been saying that throughout the pool stage. He knows it from history just how important it can be securing home advantage, even if it's just for the last 16 round. And things can change as you go through the tournament as well. If a lower ranked team knocks out the higher ranked team, then Saracens, as the higher seed against that lower ranked team, might steal home advantage in a later round. So there's a lot to be gained by trying to make your route through the tournament a bit easier. Saracens this season, as we mentioned earlier, third in the Premiership. They go to Exeter next, so they're quite well placed in that, despite all the changes last summer. And in the Champions Cup, 3 times winners. They are very proud of their record in this tournament, and they will want to try and go deep into this one as well. So Saracens with the England captain Maro Itoje captaining the North London side this afternoon. They bring back Hugh Tizard from suspension. They changed the front row completely, and also there's a 100th club appearance for Rotimi Sagan as well on the wing this afternoon. But a team blessed with quite a bit of experience in there, the likes of Lazowski and Tompkins in the centres, Ivan Van Zyl at scrum half, a great back row with Juan Martin Gonzalez, Tom Willis and Ben Earl. So they're pretty stacked, Saracens, but Castres have already taken notable scalps this season in this competition and the top 14, so they will not be taking this one for granted at all, Phil.
Hugh, good afternoon to you as well.
Hi, Phil.
Mark McCall has said through this season at times where they've maybe had slip-ups that there are some learnings being taken, and has also, said, as people say, well, you don't win things in December or January. You help set yourself up to be able to win things in May or June. Saracens still look handily placed. Your assessment of where they will be, they will want, as Saracens, to win at home because they want to win. They'll also, as Andy was saying, be fully aware of what finishing with a home tie in the last 16 and potentially down the road, what it could mean to their progress in this competition.
Yeah, Mark McCall will be the man to do that planning, Phil. So it's straightforward for them this afternoon. A win takes them into second place in the pool. They can't finish first or third if they win, so they'll be second, and they will be at home in the last 16. I think that's all the team have to worry about for this afternoon. It's nice and simple. What happens or might happen in quarterfinals and semi-finals after that, will come along. But there's nothing else they can do this afternoon other than win this match at home to Castro, whose away record is even worse than Spurs, I can tell you. They're absolutely appalling on the road. I think they've lost the last 21 away in this competition, Castro. So any Spurs fans, maybe that will give them a tiny bit of consolation. Probably not. But Saracens, it's nice and simple. They've got Mario Toji now not only captain of his club but also captain of his country. Wonderful honour for him that he's got this week. Yeah. And they've got a strong side out this afternoon. They will certainly not only be planning to win to get that home draw in the round of 16 in April, but expecting to win. Yeah,
and expecting to win well as well. That would be the other. I mean, do you get a sense that it is a much changed Saracens side in many respects? Some of those stalwarts over the last decade or so have now departed. Is it still emerging as what it will be moving forward as a group?
Yeah, it's how you look at it, isn't it, Phil? There was a lot of talk over the last year, including from within the club, of transition and a new breed of players coming through, and they said that they've spoken to these players. You're looking down the team list today, so people like Juan Martín González and Ben Earl and Tobias Elliott, these sort of fellas, that the next generation, they said to them that you are in the equivalent place that the team of 10 or 12 years ago was, that title-winning team of Owen Farrell and Jamie George and Elliot Daly. That's you now, so you've got to take it on, and it's a new era. At the same time, it's not like they've lost the whole squad and they all went away. A few of them went away. The Vunipolas, Owen Farrell went away, a couple more. So I think you could call it a half transition, but the way you mark that, the way you measure it, and how it's working or not is really results, isn't it? Yeah. They're doing okay in the Premiership. I think they're fourth in the Premiership at the moment, third maybe, looking okay for a playoff place in the Premiership, but not exactly threatening top spot either. Yeah. So that's not bad for Saracens. Okay, as a measure, you'd say that's fine. And then in this competition, same sort of thing. Should win today, should get that last 16 tie at home, but then are they a semi-final team? Are they a final team in this competition anymore? So, yeah, it's a balance between thinking about what they might be in 2 or 3 years' time and what can they actually do this season that we're in.
Chaps, brilliant. 9 minutes away from kick-off. It's the first half is on the BBC Sport website and app, second half here on DAB Digital Radio at the end of Spurs' game at Everton, whatever fallout we may get from that. But Hugh Godwin and Andy Rowley with us this afternoon. Let's cross to Meadow Park. I think they're out for the start of the second half. Arsenal against Crystal Palace in the WSL. Emily Herbert can assess that first half and tell us what's happened in the second.
Yeah, they are. They're about 3 minutes into the second half, and it's just that one goal separating the two sides. Arsenal's Leah Williamson with her first of the season, scrambling in that goal from a corner kick 6 minutes in. So the Gunners absolutely dominating the game here. They should easily be 4, 5, 6-0 up as a long shot comes in, but just goes wide. But, credit to Crystal Palace for nullifying that threat. They've done well to keep it at just the 1-0 here. But 50 minutes on the clock now. It's Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0.
So you said when the first goal went in, there could be a cavalcade. Is that credit to Palace that there's not been?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a bit of both, a bit of Crystal Palace's defending and a bit of Arsenal not quite being on it finishing-wise. They just seem to create all these chances in and around the box, passing it through and into the 6-yard box and then passing it back out, but not actually taking that shot. And, maybe that's the message that René Slegers would have given at half-time, I think, to take those chances.
Emily, thank you very much indeed. Back through the afternoon with Emily at that one at Meadow Park. Manchester United 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 1, still half-time at Goodison Park. Lengthy time of treatment given out to Radisson Dragusin. in that first half. Nottingham Forest 3-0 up against Southampton. Maybe not surprising that. Southampton are going down without a whimper. In the WSL this afternoon, as you were hearing, Arsenal 1-0 up against Crystal Palace. Spurs beat Leicester City by a goal to 0. West Ham Chelsea just got going. It's 0-0 in that one. Manchester City against Manchester United as a 6:45 kickoff. In the Championship this afternoon, victory for Charlton at Durham by 2-1. Sheffield United and Newcastle United played out 1-1 draw. London City Lionesses still goalless with Bristol City into the second half in the West Country. Birmingham 1-0 up against Portsmouth just over half time, and it's Southampton 0, Sunderland 0. It's BBC Radio London. We're going to go back to Goodison Park shortly. What response will we see from Tottenham Hotspur, who trail by 3-0?
BBC London.
Weekday afternoons from 2, where all of London life exists. From arts, culture,
the best London. Paddington's London is the London we could all have and all live in.
Reviewing your week in the city.
Families feel that they've been left for too long without support.
To what's happening for your school children.
That's part of how small children start to get a grasp of the world around them.
Personal stories.
If I could change anything going back in time, I would have slept more and partied less.
All of London life comes together here in the afternoons.
There's loads to unpack.
I'm all about the storytelling. Nothing will go wrong. It'll be absolutely fine.
With me, Shay Kaur Garival, Monday to Thursday. And me, Jumoke Fashola, on Fridays from 2.
BBC Radio London.
Listen on your smart speaker and on BBC Sounds.
BBC Radio London.
The home of London football.
Sunday Sport on BBC Radio London. Our first commentary game of the day is at Goodison Park. I think it's fair to say it's not gone well for Tottenham.
Nudges it back into the box, or towards the edge of the box, and Gay. It's Calvert-Lewin in there! He shoots low! Scores! Here, edge of the box now. Step overs, left foot shot, he scores! Spurs are falling apart here! It's an extraordinary goal! Again, high ball to the back post. Tarkovsky's up there. It is 3-0. This is extraordinary now. Tottenham Hotspur trail Everton 3-0. This is abject. The lowest points now of Ange Postecoglou's reign. Everton 3, Spurs 0.
Let's go back to Goodison Park. Neil MacDonald and Adam Cottier, our commentary team. Teams out for the second half.
Yeah, and Spurs have made a change here. Richarlison is on to face his former club once again. Dragashin has gone off, so Spurs are moving back to a back four here, it would appear, and moving Archie Gray further back. I think we'll certainly see more of an attacking impetus with Richarlison, and hopefully he can give them some sort of energy to try and find a way back into this game. But after their first half capitulation, Neil MacDonald, it looks unlikely. The second half is back underway with Spurs kicking off and attacking from left to right. So Dragashin off, Richarlison on.
Yeah, had to make the change. Obviously he went down injured, must have had a bang on the head or the forehead. He's gone to a 4 now, so let's see whether that makes a difference.
So Archie Gray and Ben Davis, the two centre-backs now. Pedro Porro at right back, Jed Spence at left back. Spurs will try and force the issue here. They absolutely have to, or else their manager's job is at risk. Spurs on the attack straight away from the kick-off. Kulusevski crosses, Tarkovsky heads it away, and then Kulusevski watches it drop out for a throw. So Spurs going from left to right. Everton unaltered for the second half under David Moyes, leading 3-0 after first half goals from Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Iliman Ndiaye, and an own goal by the very unfortunate Archie Gray. Dragashin, who had a terrible time in the first half at centre-back for Spurs, has succumbed to an injury that he sustained just before half-time and gone off. So Richarlison on. And Spurs attacking on the left now with Spence. Back to Bergvall. 30 yards from goal. Short pass to Maddison. Maddison needs to be involved more here. Tries to weave his way forward. Heavy touch from him. Everton lose it. It's Spence weaving his way across the pitch. Wide to Pedro Porro. Down for Sars. Sars crosses block. Diverts the ball out of the penalty area to Bergvall. Porro now just bringing an awkward ball under his spell that lost it, and Everton clear upfield. Dominic Calvert-Lewin leading their attack today. The referee gives a free kick to Everton's way after a foul by Tottenham's Lucas Bergvall. So it is a team that looks like this for Spurs in the second half. Kinski in goal, Porro, Gray, Davis and Spence across the back, Sarr, Bergvall and Maddison in midfield, with Kulusevski, Son and Richarlison now in attack.
At least they've showed a little bit of a response. They must have had a good conversation at half time. He's changed the system, obviously, with the centre half coming off and Richarlison coming on now. So at least they've started off okay, but at the same time, Everton look still really comfortable.
Yeah, outplayed in the first half. Spurs. Important to remember that Son missed a really presentable opportunity when the score was only 1-0. He really should have scored that in that first period, but that was the only point where you thought Spurs might score. And other than that, they've been passive, they've been indecisive, they've been dysfunctional. And Postecoglou has changed things, but you said at half-time, Neil, that this is potentially now damage limitation. Obviously, Everton have bullied Spurs here, really. I
agree with that. Certainly in the attacking side, on the Spurs defensive side, and that's, like I said to you before, it's not just the three centre halves; it's everybody. They bullied everybody in the attack and play, Everton. So let's see whether they can try and work their way back into it without being too open.
Drissagana Gay weaves his way out of a tight spot in his own half here at Everton, attacking the Gladys Street end in this second half, looking for more goals, looking to increase the pain on Spurs and their supporters here on Merseyside. It's the first time, by the way, that Everton have led by 3 goals at home in a Premier League match since 2017.
2017.
And just to reiterate the situation with how bad Spurs have been here and how bad this looks, before today, Everton had failed to score in 12 of their 20 Premier League matches played. Only the 4th team in Premier League history to get to this stage of the season having scored so few goals. But they have changed that and some today, with this place rocking, and David Moyes heading for a first win in his second spell in charge. What have you thought of Spurs at the start of this second half?
Well, they've come out, they try to play, they're trying to be on the front foot, of course they are, but that doesn't mean to say that they've created any chances so far. Everton are just sitting in, waiting for the bad pass, the bad touch, and then they can counter-attack. They've got no need to push the button.
The top here looks to release Maddison. Maddison's got it, but the angle was tight towards the dead ball line. Has to check back on himself, twists and turns. He's still got the ball, but then has it taken off him by Lindstrom, and as he does that, he fouls the Everton midfield player, and it will be a free kick to Everton.
Just tried too many tricks there. Should have just had the first touch. A really good run in behind, which was excellent. A really good ball in behind, and then he should have just moved it half a yard and put it in the box.
Spurs missing Dom Solanke today. He has a knee problem that Ange Postecoglou does not know the extent of yet. Basuma missing too, and Brennan Johnson as well. Basuma suffered a knock in the game on Wednesday night, the North London derby, where Spurs led and then lost. Their dismal Premier League form has them sitting in 15th ahead of today's game, but it could get an awful lot worse if there are positive results for Ipswich and for Wolves over the next 24 hours. Son on the left for Spurs, just spins it in field towards Maddison. Maddison's had no impact whatsoever here, and he's lost the ball. And Everton, who were so aggressive in their attacking approach in the first half, get themselves a free kick from the referee, Darren England. The pattern of this game has to change if Tottenham are to get anywhere near a result here. They deserve to be in this position because they were so bad defensively.
Defensively, yes, of course, yes. Everton don't need to, as I say, to overcommit. They'll keep it nice and tight. They'll try and win 3-0 without a shadow of a doubt. If the fourth goal comes, it'll come either from a free kick here, which they've got, put it in the box, and then it's up to Spurs to come out and be a little bit better on the attacking side. Certainly overcommit a little bit to try and get back into it, but being overcommitted leaves you open to conceding the fourth goal.
Well, Spurs have lost 11 Premier League games this season. They have seldom looked.
That's a lot. That's a lot, isn't it? A lot of games to lose.
It is really, really hard to see where Spurs engineer a comeback here. Everton free kick then from the right channel, 35 yards from goal. Jesper Lindstrom to take it. Right-footed, Calvert-Lewin guides it towards goal, but couldn't
free header.
spin his neck.
Free header inside the box again, no.
Wide.
Free header. That is a concern. That's just one ball in the box and a free header for a centre forward or an Everton player. Nobody challenging him. Nobody trying to get the body across him. Nobody trying to put him off his balance. Just allow somebody to have a free header. Wow.
I guess with the way Postecoglou approaches things, Spurs have been able to rely on their attacking threat throughout this season, and the fact that they're one of the highest goal scorers in the division. But today, Postecoglou can't hide behind that really, because this has been poor from back to front in many regards. Better at going forward than at the back in the first half, of course. They've had no killer instincts. And Everton here pressing and harrying for possession every time the white shirts of Spurs have the ball. 3-0 is the score to Everton here on Merseyside. This 2 o'clock kickoff on BBC Radio London. Adam Cottier and Neil MacDonald watching on here. Spurs' final Premier League visit to Goodison will not be a memorable one unless they can produce something extraordinary now. Porro wins a free kick for Spurs, tries to take it quickly. The ball was still moving as he took it. He looks at the fourth official as if to say it wasn't moving. The fourth official stood right behind him. So a free kick to Spurs now, which Porro takes short, and he's lost it, getting the return pass from Bergvall. Everton looking to move the ball down the left, doesn't quite come off for them, and Spurs get a throw in, which Pedro Porro will take. What I was going to say before, Neil, is that Sergio Reguilon now is the only senior outfield player on the Tottenham bench. Will Lancashire and Mikey Moore have had game time in the Spurs first team, but you can hardly call them senior players. Yang Min-hyuk is there as well, the new signing from South Korea. He's on the Premier League bench for the first time. Then it's Ajayi Olasese and Hardy.
He's got to be very careful putting the young kids on as well when the team's not playing very well, because they could easily concede 2 or 3 more. So I would imagine the seniors will stay on as much as they possibly can.
Tell that to Archie Gray, 18 years old, scoring an own goal in a game of significant magnitude for Tottenham today. It's a tough call. Archie Gray probably wouldn't be playing if Spurs were at full strength. Well, he wouldn't be, would he? As Inside tries to win it off Star, and then the referee has deemed that a legal challenge from Ajayi. It's a bit soft in my eyes. Spurs get the free kick.
Yeah, they're not getting anywhere at the minute, are they? Okay, they might have a little bit more possession than what Everton have at the minute. But even when Everton get the ball and they give it away, the crowd is still cheering. That's the difference.
Are they missing Dominic Solanke's presence in attack today?
Yeah, he's a big focal point of the game, isn't he? Of the team. Into him, set back, third man running. Into him, turning and then slide balls. I haven't seen any of that today. We've only seen the balls over the top for Son. He's had a couple of half chances and really didn't take his opportunities when they come along.
Everton bringing the ball out of their own half. In that regard then, in what we've just discussed, Neil, where does Spurs need to go in the transfer market? They're coming forward though here now with Sarr in the box, but he has his cross blocked off by Tarkowski, who's been immense at centre half today for Everton. Tarkowski, so many block tackles and challenges. He's done really well. He often struggled under Sean Dyche, but he's found his feet today, orchestrating things from centre half. And Spurs get the throw in. We'll go back to that point in a moment here. But Spurs trailing 3-0, looking for a route back into it. But the throw is given away completely. Careless from Porro. Everton give the ball straight back to Spurs though. Sarr's outside the box, gives it to Maddison. Maddison twisting, turning down the right, gets to the dead ball line, fires it across, corner kick to Spurs. Let's find out what's happening in the WSL. Arsenal against Crystal Palace. Emily Herbert.
Well, Arsenal finally get another. It's Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 0, and all the work from super sub Caitlin Ford, cutting into the box on the left. Initially saved well by Yanez, diving to her right, but Russo was there to chip it into the back of the net. Her 5th consecutive goal in all competitions. It's Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 0.
Arsenal's women with a new permanent manager this week, of course. Here comes the Spurs corner. Played in by Pedro Porro, outswinger with a right foot.
Braithwaite with a header.
Yeah, headed out for another corner by Jared Branthwaite. So Spurs looking to keep the heat on Everton here. Right-footed corner again, another outswinger. Calvert-Lewin's in the 6-yard area to head it out, and then Maddison's climbing all over.
Not too sure that was a foul. I'm not too sure that was a foul, Adam. He's won the ball, and okay, his arms. He's trying to keep his balance because he's been knocked off. Give a free kick away. Football is amazing, right? Imagine Spurs getting the next goal and the whole stadium getting really, really nervous. Gives the confidence to the players. They had half a chance there when Maddison went down the line there and he didn't pick the ball out. He tried to blast it across the face of the goal instead of chipping to the far when there was 3. So that's called making the right decisions at the right time. At least they're playing in Everton's final third now instead of having to defend, because I'd be a little bit worried if they had to defend a little bit more.
Kulusevski and Maddison have been so ineffective here. They're having really poor.
Yeah, well, Son's exactly the same. These are senior professionals, by the way.
Everton from that free kick go long. Dropson Mangala, who's 35 yards from goal. 3-0 Everton lead. Looking for a fourth here. Lindstrom to the dead ball line, drives it across, hits Bergvall, comes out to Son. Son almost loses it, and then the ball ricochets out off an Everton player and out for a goal kick for Antonin Kinski to take. Have you seen any signs that Spurs can get back into this? And going back to my previous point, Neil, do Spurs now have to, as a necessity, move into the transfer market if Dominic Calvert-Lewin is
yeah, it all depends on.
Dominic Solanke is facing time out.
Yeah.
Injured.
It all depends on how long he's out for, doesn't it, and how long the others are coming back. We don't always get the information by saying he's going to be 2 weeks, he's going to be 4 weeks, he's just out. So yeah, I think obviously everybody's looking for a centre forward, aren't they? Of course, who can score goals, who can interlink. Well, they've got some brilliant players on the pitch here, but they're not fulfilling their potential at the moment.
Well, Charleston's barely touched the ball in the second half. We're in the 60th minute of the game now.
Well, the front three are senior professionals, and they're doing nothing to really get Spurs on the front foot.
Kulusevski lost it on the edge of the Everton box, and Everton have moved the ball swiftly forward, and it's pulled back here from Mikolenko, who made the ball run from Njai's pull back, and Mikolenko, the Ukrainian defender, skies the shot into the Gladys Street end.
That's the other part. The left back has made a run. Kulusevski's got to stay with him. He didn't stay with him. He's got a free shot. That's part of the team on defensive responsibilities, on working hard for the team. You've got to track your man back and not let him have a shot.
Everton's pressing again has allowed them to win the ball back. It's nudged in and it's turned wide.
Calvert-Lewin first touch.
Calvert-Lewin. It was Kinski's ball out to the left, which was intercepted by Lindstrom. He got the ball quickly back into the box. It found Calvert-Lewin unmarked, and he just swiveled on the ball and turned it wide. That wasn't far away. He should have scored. It should be 4-0. Spurs are raking a right mess of this Sunday afternoon performance, and they were nearly architects of their own downfall again.
Trying to play in the wrong areas, yes, of course. Okay, the manager wants them to play out from the back, because if you beat the press, that gives you loads and loads of space, but they're not beating the press and they're not playing very well. So why don't they just go off the front three and try and play in Everton's half instead of trying to play out through their own half? That's changes, not so much personnel, not so much systems. It's a way of playing as well, considering how the game goes. Okay, well, I can still play from the back. Now you're 3-0 down, and Everton are really, really pressing. So why don't we play a little bit further forward, pick the seconds up and then play from there, play off the front foot and then play in their half instead of trying to play out from the back, where Everton have just set the traps and ready to go, and they've almost scored the 4th goal because of it.
BBC Radio London on DAB, live from Goodison Park. The score here, Everton 3, Spurs 0. All 3 goals in the first half scored by Calvert-Lewin and Njai, followed by an own goal by Archie Gray. The ball going in off his knee at the end of a abject first half for this Tottenham team that continues to find this season a tricky one to navigate. Their next visit to Merseyside is the second leg of their semi-final against Liverpool. They lead that tie. They've given away a free kick and Njai fouled, but Spurs have not found a significant foothold in this second half, and this may
Everton
be too far beyond them.
Yeah, I think so. Everton have created 3 half chances to a certain extent. Spurs have had none. They're 3-0 down. They're giving the ball away in the wrong area, so the confidence certainly is not there, that's for sure. Starting to think about it too much instead of just playing the pass. The first pass that you see is normally the best thing to do, instead of thinking about it, instead of having too many touches where you're going to lose the ball. So everything's not in sync at the moment.
63 minutes on the watch. Spurs also remembering their former midfielder Gary Brooke, I should say, today. The midfielder died aged 64. He scored 18 goals in 101 appearances for the club and played in 2 cup finals. The Spurs remembering Gary Brooke today after his sad passing. But the free kick comes to nothing from Lindstrom, drifts out for a goal kick. Spurs are 3-0 down. They'll work it out from the back again here, but they're under a microscope again here from that Everton press that continues to cause them really big problems when they're trying to play out. And I don't think Kinski's having a comfortable time at all communicating with his defenders today.
Listen, we can all get beat. We can all get beat 3-0, 4-0, 2-0. But it's the manner of the defeat. The manner of the defeat is defensively. Everybody's expected to defend when you haven't got the ball, and they've been outplayed, outran, outplayed through, and outscored.
But for all the defensive injuries, I'll reiterate, as Kinski is closed down again, Spurs managed to escape that particular scenario and can move forward here, and then Tarkowski gets in the way of a pretty poor pass from Richarlison. Spurs' identity has been attacking, aggressive, relentless play going forward, and they've shown very little of it today. Their defensive frailties have been exposed so badly by a team who before today was struggling to find the net. Son out on the left, brings the ball in field with a bit of trickery, passes it to Sarr. Sarr on for Pedro Porro, now Kulusevski. Kulusevski trying to spin back round the corner of the box and passes it to Bergvall. Back to Kulusevski in the right channel. Bergvall again, across to Ben Davies just in front of the centre circle. Wide it goes to Son Heung-min. On goes Jed Spence on the overlap. Dead ball line, tries to cross, it's blocked. It's a corner to Spurs. We're in the 66th minute of the game. So Spurs have just over a quarter of the match.
Adam, 3-0 down. I know they're taking a quick free kick here, so...
Yeah, quick corner. Comes out to Maddison via Son. Maddison outside the box, dribbles with it, gives it to Spence. Spence under pressure from Lindstrom, who's been outstanding for Everton. Spence has escaped that particular problem, and he goes down in the penalty area, doesn't get a penalty, went down easily under the challenge from Agrisagana Gay, and Everton can move the ball out here from the back particularly easily, and will move forward over the halfway line on the counter charge. Mikalenko to find Calvert-Lewin outside the penalty area. He's brought down by Sarr. Referee says play on. Mangle has taken over here, tries to feed it through, and then Spurs intercept, but it's still alive here, and they'll go back towards the halfway line, Everton, to make sure they keep the ball. They lead 3-0, and there's been another goal in the WSL for Emily Herbert.
There has, well, there's been 2. The goals flowing in now. It's Arsenal 4, Palace 0. Best Mead with the first, the brace this time, crossing from Musa into the box, and a first-time shot from the number 9. And then Mariana Caldente just now with a penalty kick, a low left-hand shot into the goal. And as their new permanent manager looks on from the sideline, looking very comfortable now. It's Arsenal 4, Palace 0.
Arsenal's form continuing to go very well in the WSL then here at Goodison Park. A yellow card for Abdoulaye Doucouré for bringing down Dejan Kulusevski in the centre circle. Darren England reaching for his pocket. So 3-0 it remains here. Spurs starting to run out of time in front of more than 39,000 inside the stadium. Andy Rowley is watching the rugby today, by the way. Saracens against Castres in the Champions Cup. The latest from him.
And it's Saracens 7, Cash 7, the French side scoring very early after a brilliant break by Kokangi up the middle, and then Fabian Tuquino, the number 8, finishing it off, converted try, but Sarri's hitting back through the England hooker Theo Dan, rumbling over his try converted by Alex Lazowski, so we're tied up here, 7 points apiece.
Back here at Goodison Park, we are deep in the second half, and Spurs continue to trail 3-0. Kulusevski trying to work his way down the right-hand side of the pitch, tackled by Mikolenko. It's a throw to Spurs. Ange Postecoglou brought on Richarlison at half-time for a Dragusin who was injured before the break, and changed the system, the formation. But no sign of any further alterations, and no sign that any of those 6 teenagers on the Tottenham bench today will get any involvement here. But I know what you said before about making sure that they, they are affected psychologically by playing in such a game, Neil. But you've got to play in a game like this at some stage, haven't you? Yeah, I'm talking about the likes of Mikey Moore and
yes, I can see what you're saying. Yes, okay, give him a little bit of game time, a little bit more experience. But I tell you what, the manager's under severe pressure. By the way, he doesn't want to concede another one. His senior players aren't really stepping up to the plate and saying, right, come on, I'll get you back into it. There was one situation where Madison was down the left-hand side, I think it was, and he had a chance to cross it, or it might have been Spence down the left-hand side, and there was only 2 people inside the box. When you're 3-0 down, you've got to drive inside the box. So I'm not too sure he'll make any changes. I think he'll keep all of them players that are on the pitch now at the moment until the end of the game. You got us into this situation, you try and get us out of this situation.
And Postecoglou stands with his hands in his pockets down in front of us, arms folded now, as Jesper Lindstrom, who has tormented his team this afternoon for Everton, is replaced by Ashley Young as David Moyes makes a switch to ensure that his team get this over the line. Ashley Young's brother, by the way, named permanent manager of Dagenham Redbridge this week.
Decent family football, that, by the way. Almost dad and son almost played together, didn't they? Now the brother's taken over.
Ashley Young straight involved and straight on the play, and with his foot to the floor here, running forward down the right hand side on the overlap goes O'Brien. He's tackled by Jed Spence, who's got his back facing away from goal here. That was an awkward spot for him, and he's had the ball taken off him. Son comes back to help out, doesn't manage to keep possession for Spurs. It comes out of the penalty area here for Mikolenko, and now Mangala for Gisagana Gay. Wide to O'Brien. O'Brien's cross towards Calvert-Lewin, but Archie Gray blocks it. Spurs look hesitant. There's a foul by Doucouré on Jed Spence. That'll be no more than just a free kick for Spurs.
They're inviting pressure, aren't they? Just trying to play in the wrong areas. Spurs just giving it away in cheap areas as well. Everton will score the 4th goal if they really want the 4th goal. I think the 4th goal will be there, but no real improvement, to be fair.
No, they look dysfunctional. Ball over the top here towards Richarlison though, but he can't bring the ball under his spell, and Pickford is out to smother it. Pickford's had not a lot to do today. He saved at his near post from Son in the first half, and then from a tame shot as well before that from the South Korean, but he has been wholly untested, and this is a hollow, abject wretched Spurs afternoon and performance, and how much mitigation now can you leave on the injuries that Ange Postecoglou is having to deal with in his team? Because today there is nothing to be positive about at all, and it could get worse. And Jai down the left rolls the ball to the edge of the box under Corey. Maddison comes back to read his pass and intercept it and clear it. Now Maddison getting the ball back, will try and sweep it left, try to make something happen for Spurs here. It reaches Son, but he has to check back on himself and play it in field to Bergvall. Bergvall to Maddison just in front of the centre circle. Everton are 3-0 up here at Goodison Park on BBC Radio London. Spurs chasing the game. Spence down the left, gets to the dead ball line, pulls it back, almost at Richarlison. Maddison's shot wide over and totally wasteful, and that sums up Spurs afternoon.
I agree with that.
Should have hit the target at least.
I agree with that, Adam. Very, very wasteful. You would expect somebody whose technician, his technique is unbelievable, bending that ball, passing that ball, and yet you can't hit the target from probably just outside the box. Poor effort.
Alas, we do see one of Spurs' teenage substitutes, Mikey Moore, on for Pap Sarr here. So an adjustment in the midfield area for Spurs. Mikey Moore has been given instruction that he's now passed on to Son, and Moore will operate down that left. I think Son might go a bit more central to partner here in some regard. So 74 minutes on the watch. Everton 3, Spurs 0 the score. And Mikey Moore is on. Flick on from Calvert-Lewin again. Beat Ben Davis this time. Cross comes in. Kinski's in the way. Plucks it out of the sky with a catch that he dropped and then picked up. Now Spurs will come charging down the right from the roll out from Kinski. It's Kulusevski curling towards the back post. It almost met the head of the diving Richarlison, but drifts out for a goal kick. Spurs, that's probably the closest they've come in this second half.
Yep, still not hit the target. I think Richarlison should have got his head on that one. That should have been 3-1. That was a poor miss. Good play, great pass from Bergvall through to Kulusevski. Comes inside, just tries a half shot, and it should have really been in the back of the net from Richarlison.
So just over 15 minutes to go here at Goodison. A reminder that Spurs go to Hoffenheim in the resumption of the Europa League on Thursday, and then face Leicester at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this time next week, where the temperature will be high.
It's definitely rising, that's for sure.
If he makes it that far, there'll be so much debate, so much talk about it. BBC Radio London, your first place for it. Our programme on Monday night will dissect everything involving our clubs this weekend, but this will be a hot topic, I'm sure.
He'd be grumpy. Say for the sake of finish 3-0, right? He's going to be grumpy first of all because they've got beat off Everton. Everton aren't very good, but they've been absolutely brilliant today, right? He's going to make the excuses straight away. Oh well, we've got loads of players missing. Yeah, and I've tried to change it, but it actually hasn't worked, and the majority of the players haven't performed to the best of their ability, and that's his responsibility because he sets the tactics up, he sets the game plan up, and the players have to implement that, and they haven't done that today.
But how damning a flashpoint is the fact that Everton, the team that can't score, have scored 3 against this team today.
Well, if you don't defend properly, it doesn't matter who you're playing against, whether it's a team who can't score or don't create chances. If you don't defend properly, then you're going to get punished, because they're bound to create chances. Well, they have created chances and they've been very clinical in front of goal, probably better than what they have been in the past, but somebody turning inside the box with 4 or 5 people around them, somebody having a 1v1, and then somebody scoring from a set play. It's unbelievable. Poor defending. Poor defending.
Spurs have not finished outside the Premier League's top 10, by the way, for 17 years. 2008 when they won the League Cup, But here they come looking for a goal. Maddison right in the box. He's taken out the goalkeeper, squares it for more, chips into the net brilliantly.
Lovely finish
by Kulusevski. That is a marvellous goal and a chaotic situation for Spurs. Some composure and conviction from Kulusevski. Hope. It's a brilliant goal, a lovely chip. They took the goalkeeper out, but there was bodies in the way, and Kulusevski just chips it left-footed over them all and into the nets as Pickford scrambled back. Great goal, one back for Spurs, 3-1 to Everton.
Well, there we go, ball in behind, a little bit of skill, comes back and he shows huge composure. And is this stadium actually going to change now? Are they going to get nervous? Are Spurs going to say, right, come on now, let's give it our best shot we possibly can? And they've still got half a chance, by the way. Still got round about 13 plus extra. This game is not over if they keep on doing what they're doing. On the front foot, fantastic finish. Now that's the first bit of quality. First bit of quality Spurs have shown, and they've got their just rewards.
That is an exquisite finich. He stabbed
That's
the bottom
brilliant.
of the ball to get it over.
There was 5 people in front of him, and he just chipped it over. It's almost like who am I thinking of? George Best all them years ago when he just chipped everybody, and that was actually against Spurs. I think he just chipped everybody into the goal years and years ago. Brilliant finish, by the way. Brilliant finish.
Mikey Moore
might just be too late.
After Mikey Moore's shot had been blocked in the penalty area, Maddison had gone down the right of the box, taken the goalkeeper, Pickford out of it by turning away, squared it for Moore. Moore's shot was blocked, and it came to Kulusevski probably about 15 yards out, and he chips it left-footed exquisitely over the defence and the keeper and in. It's a marvellous goal from Kulusevski. A bright spot on a torrid afternoon for Spurs. Do they find themselves a second goal here to make things very interesting indeed? But Everton's intensity levels are wavering here, and Spurs sense an opportunity. Son outside the box picks up a loose ball, gives it to Moore. Moore's cross comes off the head and goes into the air off Branthwaite. Clouted clear by Ashley Young.
4 people in the box here, that's the difference. We're getting that first goal. 4 people in the box when they were crossing instead of 2 before they had scored, so they're right on the front foot now. The whole stadium is really nervous.
Spurs have got 11 minutes plus added time.
Can they do it?
To find 2 goals.
Can their attacking play pull the poor defensive play out the fire?
Moore and Spence combining in front of the travelling support on the far side. Spurs attacking the goal to our right here at Goodison as we look on from the middle tier of the main stand. Ben Davies to Maddison. Maddison will be desperate to have an impact here. He has found this difficult today. Kulusevski had been doing until he scored that marvellous goal to give Spurs some hope here. Mikey Moore meanders his way down the left, slides and tries to cross.
He's made a difference since he come on, Adam.
It's a corner.
Very positive in what he's tried to do. He's tried to get in behind. He's crossed a couple of balls as well. So he's well done, young man coming on.
He certainly lifted the Spurs fans who've been quiet over there, but they were singing his name there as he won the corner, which is to be taken now by Son from the Spurs left. 10 minutes now of the 90 to go. Nathan Patterson is coming on for Everton. Iliman Ndiaye is going off. I think he's got a bit of a knock. So
Patterson's a cramp as well.
And obviously a defender to try and sort things up at the back for David Moyes' team.
Yeah, extra defender to come and just try and finish the game off. Feeling a little bit nervous, just sitting back and inviting pressure. Hopefully Spurs can oblige with a second goal here.
Corner kick is taken by Son into the near post, flicked on. It's going to come back here to Kulusevski. But in front of him was Branthwaite to put it out, clear it out for a throw in the Spurs. There are nerves, as you say, Neil, inside the stadium here. You can feel them at Goodison, you can always feel them here. This place was rocking at half-time, but Spurs' goal back has quietened things down a bit. Mikey Moore again down the left-hand side, goes and takes a tumble but isn't given a free kick, and it runs out for a goal kick. Elsewhere in the Premier League, Manchester United 1, Brighton 3 at Old Trafford. Matoma and Ruta with second half goals there have Brighton heading for victory across the way in Manchester, and it's the same scoreline at the City Ground as well, where Bednarek has pulled a goal back for Southampton. It's Forest 3, Southampton 1 in the final stages here. We were late starting the second half in this game because of an injury to Rado Dragoshin at the end of the first half, where he needed significant first half treatment at the end of the 45 minutes, but he was okay, seemingly okay. He was on his feet anyway before half time.
England manager's just left, he's seen enough.
But then he was taken off at half time. The defender, the Romanian defender, Tuchel,
he's just left the stadium, yeah. He thinks the game's all over.
I was going to say he's trying to make it to Ipswich, but I don't think that's possible.
He'll have to have a jet engine, that's for sure.
Ipswich against Manchester City kicks off at 4:30 this afternoon. So 3-1 it is to Everton here at Goodison Park. Spurs are heading for defeat, but let's head to the Champions Cup again. Andy Rowley.
And it's 14 points to 7 to Castres now, after a brilliant run by the outside centre and captain Adrien Segure, coming back on the angle after a quick tap penalty from Castres, and Saracens falling off a couple of tackles there, converted as well. It's 14 points to 7 here to Castres against Saracens.
Thanks, Andy. We are heading towards the end here at Goodison. Spurs' momentum has subsided somewhat, and they have the ball deep in their own half here with a free kick, and they shift the ball out to the left hand side to Jed Spence. Back to Ben Davies, playing it in defence today on his return from injury. Kulusevski goes up towards Maddison here. It's going to run for Son, is it? No, it's cleared by Jake O'Brien high up the pitch. Nodded down for Spence. Spence on for more. This is more purposeful from Spurs, led by Mikey Moore. It's going to come back here to Richarlison. Second shot, as his first one is blocked, and this one is saved. He couldn't quite set himself to get the right foot shot away. His left foot one was blocked. Richarlison unlucky, but certainly Mikey Moore has given Everton something to think about.
Yeah, positive, getting at his full-back, getting at the Everton defender, crossing the ball, getting to the byline. He's been a major success since he's come on, but at the same time Everton have just sat back. Yes, they are inviting pressure, and at least he's having a go at them anyway. That's the main thing.
I guess Postecoglou, from his perspective, even at 3-0 down, he would have had faith in his team, if anything else, that they could get back into this match.
The manager has always got faith in his team. Now, they didn't play very well first half, certainly didn't defend very well first half. That's why they were 3-0 down. But at least they've showed a little bit of backbone, if you know what I mean. They've got back into it. The goal might just be a little bit too late, but when a team's winning 3-0, they sit back and invite pressure. Obviously, they take.
Calvert-Lewin, he could be in here. Kinski's got to make the save. I didn't really think that was going to get to the Everton striker there, but it did. A little bit of hesitancy at the back, not for the first time this afternoon for Spurs. Calvert-Lewin almost in, but the bouncing ball was dealt with by Kinski coming off his line. And then Spurs get themselves in a tangle once again and give away a free kick. Handball by Pedro Porro. Free kick to Everton on their left. And time really is running out now for Spurs.
Just something like that from Young, just closing down, trying to get the ball back, lifts the whole crowd, puts them into the area where Spurs have got to make the full pitch to get back up to Everton's goalkeeper.
Get in your goal!
Play continues. Spurs get themselves a free
he's
kick.
pulled it back.
Son wanted to take it quickly, told to pull back. He's shouting loudly at the referee as Son Heung-min. Spurs still not in the right position to take it. Darren England, the ref, makes them get back into their spot, and they do. And now they can take the free kick and move it out to the left-hand side. 4 minutes of the 90 to go. Everton 3, Spurs 1 the score. What will be the consequences now for Ange Postecoglou if Spurs don't retrieve this situation?
That's answering difficult questions, that's for sure, after the game. Depending on what strategy he has. Is he going to blame lack of players, lack of defenders, having to change his shape? Is he going to have a go at his players? I very much doubt it.
Pedro Porro from the right channel pings a diagonal ball towards the edge of the penalty area. It drops fire in Everton head to Richarlison, but Richarlison's pass intended for Bergvall goes astray and runs out for a goal kick. And Richarlison's gone to retrieve the ball himself because Everton are in no hurry to do it, and neither are any
little ball persons, yeah.
Michael Keane coming on. Jake O'Brien goes off. O'Brien's had a good first Premier League start for Everton as they changed their system today.
Yeah, he's done all right, hasn't he? He's done all right.
Michael Keane comes on. So another defender as Everton look to see this out, and David Moyes now on the brink of his first victory in his second spell in charge of Everton. It will alleviate their relegation fears. It's going to heighten Spurs' another 8 points clear of the relegation places before today. But my goodness, it could get worse if Ipswich produce something against Manchester City later on this afternoon. For the most part, this has been utterly dismal and really, really concerning for Spurs. If the form already wasn't concerning, it is now. And how long can you continue to rest on the fact of so many injuries? As Jed Spence brings the ball forward down the left-hand side, another good run down that left from a Spurs player, but he runs into traffic and loses the ball, and now Everton have a free kick in that right-back position, and they will run down the clock a little further as it moves towards the final 90 seconds here.
Yeah, you can't give people 3-0 leads, defending very, very poorly, not put the chances away to get back into the game, and then there's always going to be a scenario where Everton 3-0 up, just sit back a little bit, invite a little bit of pressure. They've scored a goal, which was excellent by the way, but still really not enough to get back into the game. A comfortable, probably in the end, comfortable victory for Everton, and a poor performance defensively, certainly as a whole of a team, not just the back three or the back four or the back five, whatever you want to say. The full team defensively have been well short today, and that boils down to personnel as well, without a shadow of a doubt. But when you play for Spurs, you should be able to stand up to the plate and play a lot better than what they did first half, Adam.
Spurs thought they'd conceded a corner, but it went out for a goal kick off Decore. Full time in the WSL at Arsenal. It's Emily Herbert with the details.
And Arsenal cruised to victory against their London rivals, a 5-0 win at Meadow Park. Leah Williamson kicked it all off with the brace from a corner kick. Alessi Russo and Beth Mead took their shots, and Mariona Caldente scored the last two, one from the penalty spot and one in stoppage time, which leaves Arsenal second in the table, and Renée Slegers picks up her first win as permanent head coach, and Crystal Palace fall further down the bottom of the table. Arsenal 5, Crystal Palace 0.
Thanks very much, Emily. Arsenal enjoying their campaign in the WSL after their managerial change. We're moving into the final 10 seconds of the 90 here. Spurs with a ball forward down the left, which is overplayed, overcooked, and out for a goal kick it goes. Added time will be a minimum of 4 minutes, and that gives Spurs probably not enough time to affect the scoreline now. Hans Postecoglou has barely moved from his
no, he hasn't moved at all.
Position on the edge of his technical area.
Adam, it is a lonely place being a manager, right? Obviously, does his coaching staff come out and say, what about this, what about that, or do they just leave him? Obviously, they've just left him, and it's a lonely place standing where he's standing, that's for sure.
He doesn't seem to have communicated with very many of his players today, while he's been on the touchline, or his coaching staff, albeit we haven't had eyes on him all the time, Neil.
Yeah, but you have chances to have a little chats. How about this? Can we do this a little bit better? You know, he said his piece at half-time without a shadow of a doubt, and said before the game as well, but certainly his selection as well as his shape, the way they played, hasn't worked. He's tried to change it. They've had a little reaction, which is what he's got his hang on to. He's got to hang on to the little.
Son's lining one up here. In fact, he's shaped to shoot and then passed it to Mikey Moore, whose
corner.
angled cross is blocked and behind for a corner. So Spurs still giving it some effort here to try and get themselves another goal. Corner is taken short. Moore's whipped in a good ball, and Richarlison has turned in from close range. My goodness me, Everton have switched off, and Richarlison has scored again to make the scoreline slightly more respectable. They might not have any time to get another goal, but what a fine cross from Mikey Moore, and Richarlison bravely has put the ball in. He's injured in the process, but Spurs have 2 back from 3 down. It's now Everton 3, Spurs 2.
There's enough time, is there 3 minutes to have one more chance? My goodness me, what a fantastic ball in that was, by the way. And on the move inside the box always gives you a chance. He was brave at the far post as well. Well done. 2 good goals there.
He's done really well, Richarlison, there, to hold his line.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, because he could have easily been offside there. He's come in late. Really good touch. Really brave because he's getting smashed off the goalkeeper.
It's a volley finish from a yard out on the stretch. Mikey Moore with a brilliant ball in from that short corner routine. Wow. Have Spurs got something here? The nerves are jangling. Spurs will go after Everton here. 90 seconds to go. Surely not. Pedro Porro. Wide to Kulusevski. Everyone on the edge of their seats here. Postecoglou still hasn't moved. Archie Gray in the centre circle. Maddison's come deep to collect it. Wide to Ben Davis. Davis to Moore, left side for Spurs. On goes Ben Davis to the dead ball line. Can he cut the cross back? He can. It's cleared, only partially. Moore to the left of the box. Spence will cross towards Kulusevski. Important header from Ashley Young to get it out. We're in the final minute of the 4. Porro back to the edge of the box and Kulusevski. Maddison will chip it in. It deflects into the air. Pickford's going to catch it. That'll kill more time. That's unfortunate. And Spurs have left it awfully late here, and probably too late. 3-2 it stays. Pickford has possession.
Nervousness from Everton. If they'd have got the couple of goals beforehand, might have all changed. But again, I can't repeat myself by saying that the first half was absolutely awful, and it's actually cost them in the end. It shows both sides, Adam. The attacking side is exciting, yes, of course. They're capable of scoring from whatever angle they're going to do, but defensively they're absolutely awful.
With 4 minutes are played, Patterson's won the ball back for Everton in the centre, and a foul is given against Mikey Moore. That gives Everton a free kick, and whatever seconds Darren England, the referee, is adding on here, they're going to be surely eaten up, because Everton have a free kick on halfway, and Spurs' challenge here, although spirited in the second half, is going to end in defeat.
Yeah, more than likely this will be the last pass, I would imagine. And really interesting, first of all, to see what Ange has to say after the game. There we go.
There it is, the final whistle. It's 1 Premier League win in 10 games now for Tottenham Hotspur. Their first half capitulation here at Goodison Park proves ever so costly. Their own goal at the end of the first 45 by Archie Gray really summed up their woes here today. But they did make a spirited late fight back with a fine goal from Kulusevski and a close range finish from Richarlison, but they'd run out of time by then, and they fall to defeat once more with all their injury problems, with Dominic Solanke added to their injury problems. They lose again. What now? The ramifications for Ange Postecoglou and his time as the Tottenham Hotspur manager. The first half here was absolutely abject. The second half better. Everton get their first win under David Moyes. It finishes Everton 3, Spurs 2.
BBC Radio London.
The home of London football.
So a second half fight back for Spurs, not enough. 3 goals in the first half did all the damage. Defeat for Tottenham Hotspur at Everton by 3 goals to 2. Mikey Moore making a difference when he came off the bench. Reminds me that the youth team are playing tomorrow in their FA Youth Cup against Grimsby up there in North Lincolnshire. Let's go back to Goodison Park then, shall we? Neil McDonald and Adam Cotty are watching that. They made, you can hear where we sit in our commentary position at Goodison Park. You do get a sense of how the Everton fans are feeling, because right behind us is a very vocal family. They've always been there, and you can sense the tenseness late on when Richarlison pulled it back to 3-2. But as you said, all the damage was done in that awful first half. Change of tactics, 3 at the back, no intensity, poor defending, not even really testing Everton enough in that first half. The damage was done at that point. Do those second half goals just paper over some of the cracks?
Yeah, they do, and I think it really shows 2 sides of Spurs' game. Defensively, not very good. Okay, personnel missing. I can see all of that, but at the same time, you've still got international defenders playing who can't deal with one player in the box turning and shooting, one player dealing with a 1v1 and a ball inside the box. So they haven't, defensively they've been really, really poor. You can see why they've scored goals and they're exciting going forward. Son had a couple of chances in the first half. Bergvall has shot from distance, and then they scored 2 goals. But it's just a little bit too late, that's all it is. It's just really too late. You cannot give people a 3-0 start, no matter who you are, unless you're Barcelona or Real Madrid to a certain extent, right? You cannot give people a 3-goal start and then try and come back into it. Yes, okay, Everton sat off, so David, listen to this, so David would have been really pleased with the first half. He won't be pleased with the second half, but they've won 3-2, and that's the difference, isn't it? 3-2 win, well done Everton. 3-2 loss for Spurs. A lot to do, and please get everybody fit to get back, because your second team, if that is classed as your first team being injured and being out, you need them back as quick as you can to turn the corner.
Yeah, I mean, still 15th in the table, a long way away from the top 6 or 7, which is European football. The cups now look like the greater possibility of progression as far as Spurs are concerned. But the question marks that we asked about what happened today, why go to a 3 when you don't normally play a 3? Well,
the thing is, right, has he had enough time to work at it, right? These are all very, very good players, right? There's a mixture between experienced and young players. Okay, now players are playing out of position. Wow. If you're going to change the system, then players have to play in their round holes, round pegs, whatever it's called. So they have to do that. Now, if you've got players who are not playing in them situations and playing a different formation, it takes time to get used to it. They didn't have time because Everton railroaded them in the first half. Balls over the top, balls through, balls wide, balls crossed. They couldn't cope. They weren't tracking back. They weren't running back. The so-called star players weren't getting on the ball. They weren't looking for the ball. They weren't working hard for the team. And whatever he said at half-time obviously worked by saying, listen, come on, boys. We're a lot better than this. Everton are probably going to sit off and let's try and get that first goal as quick as we can. Did they get it quick enough? Probably not. Did they get the second goal right at the end? Yes. Just made everybody nervous, but they were well beaten even though they got beat 3-2.
There is mitigation, of course, of players missing, but they're not the only team that are missing players through this season. But there does seem to be a succession of injuries that have affected especially the back division.
Well, it's key, Phil.
Yeah.
You know, if you lose your best centre half, if you lose your best centre midfield player, if you use your best centre forward, you're going to be weaker no matter who comes in, because they're the top players. They're the ones that make the difference. And obviously, if they're not there, then there's a question mark. Are you going to be found out? Are you going to be weaker in what you are? And that's certainly what happened in the first half. They were weak defensively, not just the back 3. Because the change to a back 3, it could have been a back 4, could have happened exactly the same, but the whole team has to work their socks off when they haven't got the ball, and for me they didn't do that in the first half, and that's why they were punished.
Are there going to be question marks about the manager today, do you think?
There's bound to be, because let's go to Everton, let's turn it around, let's get momentum on the games that's coming up, and yet you're 3-0 down against a team who's struggling to score, struggling to create, and yet they're 3-0 up without really trying hard, Phil. You know what I mean? Without having to open Spurs up and having to interlink play and pull them apart and play through and play them off the park. They didn't actually do that. They just scored the 3 goals with the 7 chances that they had. So they were clinical in front of goal. So Everton weren't outplayed. They weren't pulled apart all over the place. They just didn't defend properly.
No. It's going to be a very interesting reaction to this as well. I would imagine there's a lot to talk about. That's a big result for Everton as well in their battle against the drop, isn't it? I mean,
brilliant.
You know, they got beaten by Villa. They've just beaten Spurs. They've scored goals. David Moyes, as you say, won't be happy about the 2 they've conceded. Never is. But he will look at the positives from that. Calvert-Lewin's got a goal. Yeah, I mean, from their point of view, that was a huge result. It was a big afternoon at Goodison, and it's come down on the side of the home team, right?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. And he'd be well pleased. Listen, at the end of the day, he's just got to win games, hasn't he? Stay in the Premiership, move into the brand new stadium, and the whole place will take off, without a shadow of a doubt. Now, the other side is Spurs have been in Europe. They're still in Europe. They're still in the semi-final, and yet the league form is absolutely abysmal. He has to try and put that right. Now, putting that right helps if he's got all his star players there. So, has he just got to hang on? Has he got to make sure that instead of attacking and trying to score two goals to win a game, maybe they have to score 1 goal, so that means they have to keep a clean sheet, so everybody has to work defensively. That's up to him and the coaches from now on.
Neil, thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and to Adam Cottier as well. We'll listen with fascination to the reaction to that game as well a little bit later. Safe journey home.
That's okay, that's brilliant. I'm looking forward to seeing what the 2 managers have to say as well.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating.
Very much so.
Macca, thank you for your time. Neil McDonald, Adam Cottier, our commentary team there this afternoon at Goodison Park, where Everton have run out 3-2 winners against Tottenham Hotspur, 3-0 up at the break. Spurs getting a couple of goals back, Kulusevski and Richarlison in the second half. Elsewhere today in football in the Premier League, Man United 1, Brighton Hove Albion 3. Luke Littler was there today, parading a trophy around Old Trafford. It's something that's rare these days. They did win the FA Cup, of course, but there you go. Nottingham Forest 3, Southampton 2. They came back into the game, Southampton, with a couple of late goals, very much like Spurs, but the damage was done. Hudson-Odoi, Anderson Wood with the goals for Forest, who continue to power at the top of the table. In the Championship today, Leeds United go top with a 3-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday. In the Super League, WSL, Spurs beating Leicester 1-0 with an early goal. Arsenal 5, Crystal Palace 0. Chelsea 3-0 up against West Ham United, whilst in the Women's Championship, a win for Charlton at Durham, and London City Lionesses with a 1-0 win away at Bristol City this afternoon. On the 62nd minute, the goal going in, and then they just made sure they got the victory. Second commentary game of the day is taking place in Rugby's Champions Cup. Saracens at home to Castres. Close this, Andy Rowley. We thought it would be.
Yes, I think that Castres came here to really compete. You can see that they've got some players who are a real handful, and Saracens have been behind for most of the first half, but they got a try right at the whistle, and Ben Earl, a second try of the game for him, second time he's rumbled over from close in, and it's given Saracens the advantage, converted by Alex Lazowski. The first try for Saracens coming from Theo Dan, but either side of that Dan try, there were 2 tries from Castres. The first from the number 8 Fabian Tuchino after a brilliant run from Andrea Kokangi down the middle, and the second try coming from their captain Adrian Segure. And when they get going, Castres, Saracens have found it very, very difficult to deal, especially with some of their bigger, stronger runners, and Castres for a while had the crowd here pretty concerned. But I think that try just before the break from Ben Earl, giving them the lead, it was a big decision actually. They could have gone for the post and taken the lead through a penalty, Phil. It was quite close in front. There was only 30 seconds left on the clock. I think that was a big call today, but they decided we will go for it. We'll kick into the corner. They got that try. So 3 tries on the board. Hugh was mentioning to me, they want to get the win primarily, get that second spot and home advantage in the last 16, but you never quite know if the bonus point as well added to that might just move you up that bracket of second place finishes. So that's it's in the back of their mind. But a bit like Harlequins last night, obviously the most important thing, as you mentioned at the start of the programme, was you've got to just try and win the match, get that home advantage first of all. But yeah, it's a very tight match so far, and it's just a question of if Castres can keep up what they did in the first half hour, because for that period I think Saracens were a little bit under the cosh.
Yeah, interesting. How long of a half time have you got, Andy?
Yeah, I think we've got probably about 5 minutes
Excellent.
to go, do you think?
Excellent.
3 or 4 minutes
maybe.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, back with you. Should we have just a quick listen to what happened last night, or get a reaction to last night as well? You mentioned it, Harlequins with, in the end, a 24 points to 7 win over Glasgow Warriors last night. It was a win that secured a spot in the last 16 for Harlequins. After the game, Andy Rowley caught up with the head coach Danny Wilson and skipper Alex Dombrandt.
Yeah, really pleased. We only had a 2-day prep this week with coming back from Toulon on the Monday, which meant Tuesday off, Wednesday, Thursday train, and then game. So I think the boys trained brilliantly over that period. We put a game plan in place that the guys executed excellently, and that's a good team we've beaten there, a very good team, and to beat them quite convincingly from an attack point of view. Some really good sets, especially in the first half. We got some real good speed of ball against a defence that is influenced by Steve Tandy with Scotland. It's a very good defence. I think we managed to get speed of ball, which was important for us, which meant our contact area was good. But the other big thing against a team like Glasgow is when the scoreboard says 7. Said to the boys afterwards, don't underestimate how big that is, that we've only conceded 7 points against a side that scores a lot of tries and plays a lot of attractive rugby.
We saw just how good their try was, what they can do, and then you didn't concede anything else in the second half. That must be massively pleasing.
Yeah, look, Jason and the boys have worked so hard around our defence and to make improvements in our defence, and it really comes under the test when you play big European matches. Like last week, first half we were off it a little bit. Second half we showed our defensive edge as well as our attacking edge, and we carried that into tonight. Home game, a must-win game, and we rose to that challenge and got the job done, which gives us life in this competition, gives us an exciting next stage. But we've also got another exciting next stage, which is Northampton at home next weekend.
Alex, if I get a couple with you as well. I mean, as Danny said, they wanted to win. You had to win, really. How much was it, a great performance for you to actually bring it when you needed it most?
Yeah, no, really pleasing. Really proud of the boys' efforts. I think just to echo what Danny said, off a short turnaround to make the most of 2 days and get what we wanted to get out of those 2 days, and credit to the coaches for giving us a clear game plan, and then credit to the boys for going out and executing it. So no, really proud.
The start was brilliant, wasn't it? The first 15-20 minutes you seemed to be so on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think in any game of rugby you have to put a big emphasis on the start of the game. I think it sets you up for how you're going to play that game. And no, we flew out the blocks and everything was starting to click, but we were just doing the basics well. We followed and executed the game plan how we wanted to, and then that gave us opportunities to score points. So no, it was really pleasing.
Just finally from me, I saw everyone in a big circle there. It's the last time you'll be all together for a little while. I mean, how much were you kind of all reiterating to each other that Friday's just as big, really?
Yeah, no, definitely. We had one of our physios, Susie. She was leaving, so it's nice to send her off with a win. And yeah, look, we know that we've got a big block of games coming up. We've got Northampton next week and Friday night, and then the Prem Cup block coming up. So it's an opportunity for a lot of boys to play a lot of rugby, and we want to win games. So that starts next week. So we'll enjoy tonight, and then all focus will turn to Northampton on Monday.
Big win last night for Harlequins. Big game for them on Friday night as well. A live commentary on the BBC Sport website and app that will be bringing you from the Stoop. From a domestic point of view, huge against Northampton on Friday, and it will be live this afternoon. Let's go back to the Stone X though. The teams will be coming out for the second half shortly. Saracens leading by 19 points to 14 going into the second half against Castres. Commentary team, Hugh Godwin, rugby correspondent of the iPaper, alongside Andy Rowley. They're getting into some proper guitar music, which is good to hear.
That's not us.
Sorry?
That's not us playing the guitar.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, okay. I just thought you brought your axe along to you, just along, as well as your pen. Big second half to come, but I mean this game is nicely poised, which is what we hoped for.
Yeah, it's definitely a game that I think Saracens thought it might maybe have just come a bit easier, but do you think there's more to come from Saracens?
Yeah, I feel maybe I've been a little bit critical of them during the first half. Not really criticism, more just a little bit clunky with their phase play, just not quite smooth. But on the face of it, they've scored 3 tries in the first half and deadly from close range. They from a couple of tap and go penalties, they've been quick, decisive, and then also from the set piece of line out scoring from that as well. So in a way, typical Saracen stuff. So Theo Dan, Ben Earl with a couple of tries and 5 points off at half time. So if they can add on a little bit more smooth phase play, I think they could have a very decent second half.
Well, Phil, thank you very much indeed. Just about to get underway here in the second half at the Stone X in North London. And that French World Cup, I think, wasn't it? Or was it? I think it was, where that trumpeter came in and everyone seems to have taken it on. And that signifies we're off and underway in the second half.